at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Nobody is coming to save you. Get up. Be your own hero.
Good evening and welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Good to see everybody tonight. Boy, we already 31 people in here tonight and the internet already giving me fucking shit. Ain't that the surprise of the year? Oh, there, the little thing went away. We're good to go. Whoa, we got a bunch of people in here already. Jeez, let me see here. Over on the main channel. Did you guys notice? Did you notice how different everything is? Did y'all notice how different everything is? Because it's a new number on the year. So everything's completely better and wonderful and, completely different now. It's changed. Things are going to be different. How many of you made promises to yourselves that you have no intention of keeping? Probably none of you. Most of you are wiser than that. And know that was the pagan New Year, and we're not much on the pagan New Year. Boy, look at that. My hat's really dirty, isn't it? Got something on it. Don't know what that is. Just dust. It's the way the dirt's hitting it, the way the light's hitting it. Anyway, so wow. Anyway, negatory. You didn't notice anything no longer on the ball? You didn't notice any kind of a change to our world? That everything is now different. It's somehow gone to the better because we're in 2024 in here. I didn't either. Everything just went back to normal. One more marker in the nesting doll of resets that we all seem to be going through at all times. And we have that, as we brought out before, a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly reset. And we just passed that little marker, and everybody, of course, today was a normal day, but a little different because you didn't have to have the Blue Monday. You got to skip right to Taco Tuesday. So hopefully your Blue Monday wasn't blue and and it was full of tacos. And tomorrow, you know what that means? It's hump day. Oh boy. And then we'll go through every other little thing until we come up. What's our next big one that we got? That's right. Valentine's Day. I can usually gauge that by when I go to the store and pick up a few items. I can tell right there at the first thing when you walk in what holiday's coming up just based on the bullshit that they're trying to sell to you. So that's a good way to keep up with the little marker points. I don't pay much attention to them. I just know that there's cold times, warm times, dark times, and light times. And it's just, I don't care what fucking year it is. I don't even really care what month it is, except for when I have to gauge myself to other people's little schedules. So let's take a look and see who all we've got out here tonight. I really don't have anything other than an open panel, and begin looking at some crazy stuff regarding flat earth. And this is the thing that gets me right off the bat with that is always with these people, they've gone, and if you look at what they're wanting to argue about and talk about, and it's like, hold up. Let's go back to that shit that you glossed over when I was a little kid. Let's go over that. Okay? Because you gave me that crap when I didn't have a mind to question it. But now I have a mind to question that very thing. And I want to. And it's some of the most basic shit that when you look at it, it could never stand up to any scientific principles whatsoever. I don't give a shit. This thing about having gas pressure without a containment is nonsense. Okay, gradient or no gradient, it doesn't matter. See, this is the thing. Show me a gradient inside of a pressure cylinder. Do you have a little fucking thing to go in there and do that with? Because there is one. Okay, but you also don't have mixtures of gases, okay, like we do in our Atmos. And I often refer to a propane cylinder because it does have a gradient. You've got the liquid part, you've got the gas part, and it's all under one overall pressure. But there's definitely a gradient in there. And you don't believe it, take some cold water, pour it on the outside of your propane cylinder, and a frost line will appear at the level of where the liquid is at, because of another impossibility of the globe, and that's thermodynamics. Okay. As we said, no gas pressure without containment, no fluid pressure without containment. Balls of gas do not form anywhere in a vacuum or in the air or any other gosh dang place unless you put it inside of a container. So when we get back, and then with your gravity, because they're always going to claim that magic spice gravity, one of the 11 herbs and spices, along with parallax and refraction, they like to throw around, and spectroscopy, which is a lunatic fucking idea. We're going to look at rainbows and tell you what shit is made out of. This is some real reaching on these people's part. But anyway, they fly that by us, and that's where we need to go back to these basics. So I don't even care what you're looking at in the sky or any other such nonsense. Before we can even get to that, let's talk about this first initial thing you told me, that I live on a ball. Okay, and there's some really heavy duty requirements that's required for that to be true. And so far, no one has been able to successfully demonstrate how this could be a possibility on any scale whatsoever. And it goes right by from glossing over those initial things. And so if there's anybody out there that thinks that they can prove these initial things, gas pressure without containment, water bending around something rather than remaining level. I mean, if you build a hump in the middle of a swimming pool, is the water going to have a hump in it too? Of course not. That's ridiculous. It never will. That's why the ocean doesn't follow the contour of the floor of the ocean. And what in the have I done with my lighter? I had it here just a moment ago. There it is. Hard for the old Sav to keep up with shit here. And it's because it's, of course, it was in a different place. It's a new year. You see, this is how we all work. And this is how we go. So, yeah, without getting past any of those first initial things, we have a lot of problems. Houston. And that one's one I keep going back and it's like, wait a minute, is it this or is it that? Or should it be that? You know, some of these Mandela effects really fuck with me hard. How many pots have you smoking? How many pots? I did take a nice big dab before I came up here, but that's another story altogether. So I don't know what this thing is. We didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to the little ball drop thing, but this woman here, she put out this. I thought this was kind of cool, and this thing I'll share it with you. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's do it.
I watched on ABC and previously recorded came up on the screen, and some segments had confetti on the ground before the ball drop. Weird. It turns out the whole thing in New York City, the ball was hit with fireworks. So supposedly this happened around 11:50. I don't know why the ball was lit up at 11:50 because I on TV didn't see it lit up at 11:50. It didn't light up until they were like counting down. I don't know. So as you saw from the little clip at the end there, people were being escorted out of the square by the police that were there because the ball exploded. People in the comments of my original video, if you click down here, are saying that the ball that was televised was actually from a previous year, and what was actually in Times Square was just the digital clock. I don't know what to believe at this point. Did we like switch realities? Is there like a shift, a split happening? I don't understand. Something else that a lot of people noted, and even the announcers on the TV shows were saying that the people that were there didn't seem very cheerful. They didn't seem like they were in the spirit, but the excuse that they used was that they were there since 10 a.m. Most of the people there also weren't from America. And again, at the very end, after the ball drop, hearing the announcer say over and over again that the whole world is here in Times Square just waiting. What are we waiting for? And then the announcer, who was drinking the whole time on stage with Anderson Cooper, asking if they had any breaking news that they had to cover. Why was that even a question?
So I don't know, man. Did anybody else notice any crazy shit like that? I mean, wow. I didn't pay any attention. I was just waiting to see if something happened, you know, or if they was gonna do a Dark Knight Rises type shit on these people or some kind of thing. I don't know, man. It was kind of hard for me to keep in mind what's going actually on. What the hell? This camera's not even in the right spot. There we go. Now we're in the right spot. Dog toys all over the place. Holy shit.
I watched on ABC and previously recorded.
Sucker to my dogs. Total sucker for my dogs. So what do we got going on? Let's go in here and see who all I got in the chat here tonight. Wow. So around the main, I got Angela Baby Carson, who I am to understand is going to the store, but will be back with us. Thank you for letting us know. Carrie Skates, Joe Bloor, Joe in Albuquerque. How you doing, buddy? Been seeing you've been putting out a lot of videos here. Kimosabi, Nachakita is with us. Unindoctrinated and Jehovah's Daughter Barbara. Somebody else popped in. Bear Jew, Four Jacks. Kung Fu Shaolin's with us. Let's see who we got there. Yeah. And then over on the Sob's place, we got a good number of people over there, it looks like, for this little channel. Let's take a look. Oh, we got GT Mustang. Martine's with us too. Good to see you, MKUltra. And let's see. I saw Jehovah's Daughter Barbara over there on that one as well. Lisa Latte Lund Rodick over there. Happy New Year. Thank you very much for that. All right. Cool beans. So we got all that over here. Let me get back over to my regular thing. Nice. Fireworks are they said something about that the fireworks were illegal in Hawaii too, and just everybody said fuck you and did it anyways. Oh yeah, California. Yeah, that was crazy. They was doing that over LA and shit too. I seen that from a chopper. But hey, you know, people are getting tired of being told what they can and can't do. I mean, they really are. I mean, I've never been much one for somebody telling me what to do and shit, you know. In a lot of instances when it is, you know, something that's for your, you know, where they're not really telling you what to do, but, you know, don't forbid me from doing shit, because that'll make me want to fucking do it even more. I'll do it, you know. You forbid me from shit, I'll fucking do it. I don't care. I don't even have a problem with that. But that's just me. That's not a suggestion to anyone else, though. Okay? So, meanwhile, this is what the sheep, and this is why everybody fell for the last 3 years. This is disturbing, and I've seen this, man. Any of you that were at Flattoberfest probably witnessed this as well. This is what you got. Watch these people.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along.
Just sitting there playing the idiot tags, hoping for a refund. I mean, that's really what you got going on. Oh my God. Then there was some other thing, something about Roosevelt Island. Manhattan experienced widespread power outages following a series of explosions from manholes in New York City. So I don't know what that was all about. Let me bring this up real quick. That's from a helicopter. A lot of emergency response. Listen, they've been running a lot of drills in DC at like 4 o'clock in the morning and shit like that here recently too. And really strange goings on. Then we saw where the insurance companies are going to take away coverage for anything that happens due to, what did it say, insurrection, war, or riots. You know, so I guess, you know, you get caught in a fire, you get burned up in a fire from one of these fiery but peaceful protests and shit, and you're just you're fucked, I guess. You know, I don't know. How's that work? Hopefully not to get into a whole lot of it, of their nonsense. Yeah, I mean, who knows what the hell is up with that? You know, and then you don't hear any more about it. You just, boom, that's it. That's just it. What was this? If Daddy removed the simulation text and claimed this was real footage. Oh, yeah. Thought this was cute. Hang on, I'm trying to find something, guys. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. Okay. This is really good. We've talked about this about the money. I don't know if you've ever heard this person before on YouTube, but she's usually got some really good information. Hang on one sec. And this is the money, because here's what's going to happen, man. This is what I think's going on, all these little distractions. Because in between all the little distractions, I'm seeing some curious shit about money and CDC, CBDC, and all this other crazy nonsense. And even to the point where they're saying this is going to be like 10 times worse than 2008. Well, no shit. You know, what did you expect? All you did was put bubble gum on the hole in the side of the fucking space station, you know?
Hey, internet friends. Today I am going to explain U.S. currency from colonial times to present day, as we have this whole CBDC dark cloud looming overhead. And we will end at the looting stage of the empire, which is what we're seeing now. So no one requested this. You should have, but no one requested it. But I'm going to challenge myself today, and we're going to try to accomplish this in 5 minutes or less. Let's go.
In the early days of the U.S., there was no unified system of cash. Instead, each colony made its own paper money, which was often backed by a promise to pay taxes or some other form of security. As a result, there was a lot of inflation and fake money, so in 1775, the Continental Congress tried to make a national currency by printing the Continental currency. But this currency quickly lost value because it was printed too much and people just didn't trust it. By the end,
Sorry. Thank you for that. I was on mute. What an idiot. Wow. Okay, so as I was saying, let me go back because I remember now. This channel, incidentally, is on YouTube. Is Really Graceful is the name of this channel, and Grace puts out some really good stuff on a number of topics. But she's really good to follow. Go take a look at her channel. But the thing is this: if you don't understand money, if people don't understand their money, where it comes from, what it means, what it represents. And you'd be surprised how many of average everyday people don't know what the currency they're using represents, or even to that point, what money actually represents. Okay. And it's very, very important, and it's not afraid to say, I don't know about this shit, man. You can learn. Okay. And this is kind of like a little crash course. So as you can see, they would put out these certificates.
End of the Revolutionary War, it was almost useless. Following the Revolutionary War, the U.S. Mint was established by Congress, and they gave authorization for the creation of a national currency that would be based on a decimal system. So they had coin offerings, which included copper half-cent, 1-cent pieces, as well as silver, half-dimes, quarters, half dollars, and gold eagles, half eagles, quarter eagles, and double eagles. But what you need to know here is that their money was backed by silver and gold. So their worth was directly linked to the worth of the metal. Eventually, there was paper money in addition to coins, and in 1791, the first Bank of the United States was established and given the authority to issue these banknotes. And these banknotes could be exchanged for gold or silver. My favorite president, the 7th president of the United States, Andrew Jackson, was recognized not only for his willingness to duel pretty much anyone, but for his hatred of banks and centralized financial power during his tenure. He believed that banks were susceptible to corruption and mistreatment, therefore they posed a significant danger to our personal freedoms. He was a vocal opponent of the establishment of the Second Bank of the United States in 1816, and he just saw central banking as centralized power. Centralized banking gave too much power to affluent elites and financial speculators. He believed
Just to add in a side note to this too, Jackson knew firsthand what the wrath of the banks were about. The battle of 1812, right? Let's get real. What was happening then, right? In the battle of 1812, what was that really over? It was because we did not renew Rothschild's charter for the central bank. And he was quoted as saying that if the United States does not grant the renewal of my charter, they will find themselves embroiled in a most bitter war. And when it wasn't done, well, here they come down from Canada and sacked Washington, D.C. And, well, the rest is history, or is it? They don't want to talk much about 1812. They don't want to talk much about this war. Everything I think mostly people can remember from school is that Dolly Madison saved the all the shit from getting burned up from the White House by moving it out and stuff, I guess. Right.
Centralized banking was unconstitutional, and it was directly against the fundamental principles of our constitutional republic. In other words, he spit in the face of these centralized bankers. He knew they were up to no good. Unfortunately, we didn't have many presidents that held Andrew Jackson's convictions. During the Civil War, the United States was confronted with yet another financial crisis. In order to support the war effort, the government initiated the issuance of paper currency known as greenbacks, the Lincoln greenback, which was named after President Abraham Lincoln, of course. The greenback's worth was not backed in gold or silver, but rather in the trust the public had in the government's capacity to support them. In response to the scarcity of coins during the war, the government introduced fractional currency, or a type of small paper notes designed to replace the coins, and also national banknotes, which were introduced alongside the greenbacks in fractional currency. And today it's considered misinformation or conspiracy to suggest that Lincoln's monetary policy was what ultimately led to his assassination. But I think if you look at the patterns of history, especially the parallels between Abraham Lincoln's monetary policy as well as JFK's proposed monetary policy, then the connection becomes very clear. It should be noted that all wars are bankers' wars, and the Civil War was no exception. You see, bankers profit handsomely from war because they are able to make loans available to all sides of the war effort, and they are able to collect interest on those loans.
And this is exactly, if anybody watched the series Game of Thrones, at first they started making mention of the Iron Bank. And then I saw that exactly as a play on the Bank of London, or even the Federal Reserve Bank in Washington, D.C. It was exactly that. And they didn't have any, they were like this World Bank. Okay. So they didn't have any real allegiance to any side. It was like there. And so think Switzerland, right? Neutral. They don't have a dog in the fight. We're just loaning money for you guys to hash it out. It's fucking sick.
Aftermath of the Civil War, it's very clear that bankers and titans of industry set their sights on the New World, on the United States. How does one control a country? They do so through the money. It's what the populace works their entire lives towards. It's equated to our energy output, how we keep our families safe and comfortable, food on the table. So in the aftermath of the Civil War, the small cabal set their sights on the United States, and through the destruction, through the rubble, through the chaos, out of which was order and control for this small group. This small window of opportunity for this one group to seize all of it. At the turn of the century, the United States government formally embraced the gold standard. In 1913, this small group, this small cabal that I was talking about of industrialists and bankers met at Jekyll Island in secret. It was there that they plotted and conspired to establish the Federal Reserve System. And by
great book about that. If anybody ever is interested in that, some of you people might enjoy. The Creature from Jekyll Island is a great book describing how this entire real thing went down. And there's even more on the Jekyll Island thing that's kind of spooky. The inhabitants of Jekyll Island prior to, well, when whites, Europeans first came here, the position as to where some of these estates are located on the island that belong to these, what they call the robber barons, really quite interesting. And I looked into some stuff that said that there was a blood sacrifice altar that was used by the native inhabitants buried directly under the parlor of where they hashed out the Federal Reserve Bank, the Banking and Commerce Act with Senator Aldrich.
By lining enough pockets, they were able to pass it through Congress on pretty much Christmas Eve. The front-facing message essentially is that the Federal Reserve System regulates the money supply, setting interest rates and ensuring the stability of the U.S. financial system. And even the name Federal Reserve, it seems like it's an extension of government, but it's not a government entity whatsoever. It's a private entity made up of individuals who hold no allegiance to our country. They're at best dual citizens. Therefore, the total takeover of our country began in 1913.
And that's a hint, dual citizens. Think about, probably they're Canadian and US, right? Most likely.
Accelerated in 1971 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. And what really sealed the deal for the death of the dollar was 2020. Of course, in present day, the currency of the United States is comprised of both physical coins and paper bills. Our coins are the penny, the nickel, dime, quarter, half dollar, dollar. No one uses the dollar coin. And on our money, on our paper money, the iconography couldn't be any more occult. But what gave the U.S. monetary system such a boost is it was the default global currency.
Yes, and also what she was saying about it being a cult, that entire thing is a spell. Remember, spells and hexes can be, and often are, symbolic and not written in English. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Also, know that the word God is not a name. It's a title. So put all that in conjunction with the phrase, in God we trust. All right. Which God? Certainly not the creator God. Not
Well, the countries around the world did their trades in the US dollar, especially in oil. This gave the dollar political leverage on the global stage. But now, as our economy is in turmoil, our government has been infiltrated from every angle, and our dollar is supported by absolutely nothing. No gold, no silver, just the confidence to exchange it for goods and services, and that confidence is waning. We are truly in the looting phase of the empire. Because the Federal Reserve System is not a system designed to last forever. It's the snake eating its own tail. And as we approach this wheelbarrows full of money in exchange for a loaf of bread phase of the society, they have proposed a solution to all of this inflation.
Of course, problem, reaction, solution. See, this is always been the plan. And the snake eating its own tail, the Ouroboros. Think about this shit, man. It's, and anybody can you say Weimar Republic?
Central bank digital currency. In other words, a digital dollar. And it would control people to any extent. It would allow the government control of all account transactions of its citizens. Moving forward, the government could devalue currencies and withhold money at will. They would know what you owe to whom, what you spend money on, and what assets you have. There's no more hiding savings under your mattress. The government knows exactly how much money you have. And, you know, if you're considered an alt-right white supremacist, they could just delete your account with the press of a button. It is more top-down control. It's just a debt-based monetary system. It's a debt-based monetary system and its death throes, and this is its final solution. So that, internet friends, is U.S. currency from colonial times all the way up till now, and even a little bit in the future. All in under 5 minutes, I hope. Let me know what you think, internet friends. You know, I always look forward to your comments. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing, supporting my channel on Patreon, and purchasing my book, The Deep State Encyclopedia. Bye.
No shit, man. No shit. You know what? We got somebody backstage. Guess who we got? Guess who we got? Anybody got a guess? Anybody got a guess? I know somebody's got to have it. That's right. What up? What up? What up?
Good evening.
What's
Hey,
going
internet
on, bro?
friends. Today I
Shh.
Yeah,
So what's
we
going
are.
on, Dreamy?
Oh, not a lot. Just listening in. But yeah, there's, you know, when growing up as a kid, my favorite movie was It's a Wonderful Life, and it's all about the Emergency Banking Act. You
Yeah.
know, I wouldn't know that until I got into my 40s, but it was always and still is my favorite movie.
Yep.
But if you go back and actually watch it, realizing it's all about the Federal Reserve, the Banking Act,
Yep.
all of that back in 1933, I mean, it's quite enlightening. You
Yep.
had a choice to stay private or go with the public. But they still left a lot of information out when they're dealing with money, you know, and the gold and this and that.
Oh, I know, right? You know, I've thought that before too. I was like, I watched it with different eyes after I after I started waking up to what the money system actually was, you know.
Right.
And when Nixon did that, I was just a kid, but I can remember him talking about OPEC. And I was like,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what the importance of OPEC was, you know. And it's if these Arabs have they don't have all the oil. We got lots of oil here. I can remember
Right.
saying to my dad, why don't they just go ahead and pump the oil here? And
Yeah, they
instead of
say
buying it from the Arabs and shit. He
right.
says, because they sold our country out long ago. I didn't know what he meant. Now I
Well,
do.
see, I grew up not being around my mom, but in my after I was 16, then I got back in touch with her and whatnot. And then I learned that my mom always went exempt, no matter if she had a job or not. She would just go 99 exempt, she told me. And And I tried to ask her about that, and she would just say, they don't get my money. They don't need my money. Whatnot. I'm the one doing the work. Well, anyways, she never really explained to me why she did that and the purpose of it. So there is a thing, 1099 exempt. No idea. It's all in the tax paper. It's in the tax code. And when you read that that dollars have no value, it makes you go, oh crap. And we're all playing with it, like monopoly money. That's why I call it monopoly money now. It really truly is. And what is something against the law in the United States? Monopolies.
Yeah.
And we're playing with monopoly money.
Yes. Yes, we are. It's not even money. It's just currency. It's not even backed by them little plastic houses.
Right. Exactly. Well, when we were really little kids, we were pretty creative. And we went to the store with our paper money that you get when you're a little kid. You get those little packets and they have paper money and stuff in them. And they literally let us buy ice cream at the ice cream place. Of course, I'm sure our parents paid, but we thought we were paying with our money. That pretend kid money. When you think back about those things, it is hilarious because that's what all adults are still doing right now. They're playing with somebody else's pretend money that they created.
I wanted to show this. This is a quote by Copernicus. Everybody mispronounces his name and calls him Copernicus. It's Copernicus. Anyways, the Pythagorean teaching of heliocentrism was founded upon hypothesis and is not necessary that the hypothesis should be true or even probable. The hypothesis of the movement of the earth is only one which is useful to explain certain phenomena, but it should not be considered as an absolute truth. That would be our good old Nicholas Copernicus, 1543.
Well,
I like to mispronounce those fuckers' names because it's like putting a file backwards up some guy's ass. I hate that shit. They really do.
Well, it also makes people remember it.
Right.
When you do something like that, what do they say whenever you use something like a Latin word in law in something? It's bringing it attention. It's making it stand out.
Yes. Well, I in all honesty, they weren't teaching us about this in school yet, and I was already reading above where I should be. I was all the time getting in trouble. That book's ahead of where you should be at, and I'm like, why is that ahead? Maybe I'm supposed to be there. That was my thinking on it. But anyways, I could remember because I sounded it out. That's how I thought his name was said, was Copernicus. And it wasn't until years later, and then somebody said Copernicus, and I goes, "Oh fuck, I was saying that wrong."
Then you found out they lied to you about the rules in English, huh? Whenever you were in phonics classes.
Yes, and another one, because I was reading about shit from Isaac Asimov and stuff, and I mispronounced Beetlejuice because of the way it was spelled. I had only read it, and I thought it was called Beltlegos. Because it's the way it looks, Beltlegos.
Yeah.
So I was going by the way shit was written,
Right. Same here. If you just sound out my words, even if I misspell them, you can read them. And the other thing is I will switch letters backwards occasionally. Usually I catch myself, but not always.
Martine's a sexist. He's man. And don't forget and a women. You're supposed to, because of it's 2024, Martine. Get with it, bro. Right? You're supposed to end a prayer with amen and a women.
Yeah. My conflict in some of this is like the UCC code is how you act in commerce. and that's what governs and rules business, supposedly. However, I also have read that only the government can engage in commerce. So commerce and business must be two different things, right? If only the government can act in commerce.
I guess.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
what else, what other explanation can there be?
I don't know, man. I don't
Because
know.
we know it's corporations that are running everything.
Right.
So if you get an okay by the god of government, I said that on purpose,
Yeah.
then you can create and have a corporation, which employs many people, right?
Right.
And most of those corporations are accessible to the public, whether you're shopping or working or whatever, you have access. So just, you know, private being private, not asking another man's permission, not following another man's rules. I still say the only rule is, you know, don't
Well,
go out and harm other people by stealing or killing or doing damaging their things, you know.
they
Not
get away
yours.
with 99% of that shit by the way they've got people's perceptions hijacked. You
Right.
know, and
Yes.
this guy was wearing a suit, so he gave me a bill that said that I have to pay this fucking money, and even though I wasn't doing it, blah 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 blah. You know, that's how it is.
Right.
It's like if you walked up to some other fucking guy and said, "Hey, you, I just saw you speeding down this road, so I'm going to extract funds from you for that." What do you think the guy would say to him? He'd say, "Kiss my ass," right?
Right.
You put a special suit and a car on him, and then that's okay. Tell me how that is, man.
Well, see, when I was young, I mean, I heard my grandparents and even my great grandpa say one time about citizens' arrest. That was not for like you to just arrest your neighbor. It was for like a government official that did harm. You could have them arrested.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
mean, I watched. Go ahead.
this series I'm watching, right?
Mhm.
It's called what is it called? Outlander, and it's where this chick gets transported back to 1745 or some shit,
Right.
and in Scotland, and of course the English are ruling over the Scots, and it's crazy how that you see their common law and shit how it works. But then you see the English trying to interrupt and put in their commerce law with shit. And these Highlanders they don't want no part of that fucking shit. See, that's the whole thing. And it's really interesting, and you see how some of these customs and you see how they do these different business transactions and whatnot. Now, and most people wouldn't pay attention to that, but I've been paying attention to it because they're keeping it pretty legit. Pretty legit. It's a pretty good show.
Very interesting.
You can tell it's written by a woman though, because it's kind of like drawn out, and there's a lot of romanticism and shit like that
Well,
in it.
see, and that's one of the things they keep saying this a man's world, but that's not true. It's the matriarchal society, especially with the English. You know what I mean? With the kings and the queens, they have the matriarch is the highest of over everyone, even the kings.
Well, this girl went back in time. She went back in time, right? She fucked up, and the rest of the clan, she put the rest of the clan in danger, and so it was up to him as her husband,
right,
to discipline her, and he was expected to put a strap to her butt. He had to spank her bare ass. And she wasn't going to have no part of it, right? Because she's from the 20th century and shit.
Right.
And he's like, no, this is what we do. This is how this shit goes. I have to do it. I don't want to do it, but he admitted, he says, I kind of do,
Right.
It's a saucy show. I mean, there's no, they don't leave much to the imagination on this show, but
how interesting is that though?
It is, and the rest of the clan wouldn't even talk to her until after she'd been disciplined. And then when she finally came down the next day at breakfast, she comes down there and she did get her ass whooped. And then they'd all talk to her and they're like, here, you can come over here and sit here. And she's like, no, I'll prefer to stand today for my breakfast. And it's like, they all cracked up laughing, but yeah, right. She got her ass whooped. That wasn't, I mean, that's how it was. I mean, that was their culture. And, you know,
Well,
of
they
course,
say
were
they're
Catholic.
civilized, but all I see them as being very barbaric. You know, they hurt people, they behead people, they kill people.
Who's that?
That's like the kings and the queens. You
Oh,
go
I
back into
know.
history, and it's all about killing and
Dude,
like
no
you say,
shit.
discipline, beating people up, cutting
No
off their
shit.
heads,
No
saving
shit.
them.
And this was unreal too, because like they got this one scene where they go around, they round up these fucking Scots and for various crimes and shit, and their punishments are harsh as shit, man. And they taking these people and they just got like assembly line hangings. And this one guy, they drop him and he doesn't, like, he's hanging there jangling and he's still alive and shit. And these guys come up and they're grabbing on his legs and pulling it down on him so it'll kill him. It's like, oh my God, you know, and then they just like a judge does, so and so, you are charged with this, that, and the other. Then he goes up the steps, put him on the thing, kick him off the scaffold, hang him, get the next one. It was just like a whole line of these fucking people getting hanged in there.
Right.
And flogging them. Oh my God, man. Tying them to the pillory and beating the shit out of them with the strap.
Caning them. Yes, there was caning.
No, they was using like a cat of nine tails, man. This dude got flogged 100 lashes and his fucking skin was like just in strips, like hanging on his back.
Right.
It was horrific, man. They used to do
So
some
I don't. Do
heinous
you see
shit.
them as being civilized? What they claim
No.
civilization is?
No, their claim of civilization was they were civilized and anybody that wasn't like them was not. And therefore
Exactly.
it was okay to treat them like a fucking animal. And like they did that to natives here in this continent when they came. They
Yeah.
did it to, you know, and the British weren't the only ones. It was the aristocracies of Spain, Italy, all these places that gave them some kind of superiority complex over others that they could just come in and just do what they will, you know. And they pretty much did. They pretty much did. They're evil as shit, like you say. And then they get everybody, then once they got everybody enslaved, then they want to get everybody's brain. They want to take everybody's mind away from them, you know.
Yeah.
Make them believe this crazy nonsense. Watch this fucking bird. Whoa.
That's a great question.
What the hell's happening to this guy?
Hey, pretty much every day is an interesting story. I love it here. Well, we spend a lot of time training just to become better. We're doing all sorts of things to make life better on the planet Earth. Over.
And he seems to be able to sit okay, but that wire can't hold still.
Right? And they're just doing, and it's so vague. They're so vague. We're just doing all kinds of cool stuff that helps people back on Earth. Well, like what? Well, you know, just like all kinds of cool stuff. We grew some tomatoes upside down, you know, and
Right.
did some somersaults, and oh yeah, and then we chased each other around in a gorilla suit. That was epic, you know. I mean, it's like, what is it that you're fucking doing at any of this time? How can you do anything? Wouldn't you be afraid of getting caught on those wires that are hanging everywhere?
Right.
Find a motherfucker up there weightless and strangled to death in a bunch of cables. Like,
Well,
Anna
I just
Trent.
think they create the world so that they can involve people in this fiction. And I say that because world and earth to me are two different things. They're two different words. They have
Oh,
two
yeah, yeah.
different meanings.
Yeah,
And they
For
use
sure.
them interchangeably.
for sure.
But then
For
you
sure.
think of I started thinking about like the World Fair,
Yeah,
the world stage, and I started
Yes.
seeing where they use that word world And people are thinking it's the earth, but it's not. It's a separate creation created by man, not by the creator that created the earth where we live
Right,
and
right, right.
breathe.
And, well, like I said, Dreamy God is a title,
Yes,
right? It's not a name.
exactly.
So who are you talking to? Is it in reference to that fucking eye? Is it
Well,
in reference to what you've got hidden symbolically on this fucking piece of paper?
right. No, all men are gods. I learned that one and I ain't forgot it.
Hey there, John
You
Wayne.
know.
Can't believe that I got you on a stream. John Wayne.
Oh, I'm not the actual nothing. But yeah, they had a really good discussion on Melodome today. I was listening to that earlier.
Oh, that's interesting. Cubby Bear said that the Mars Curiosity rover had new images come out today, just as believable as ever. We'll have to take a look at those because I got a thing here from
What are you
space.com. And apparently the Russians and the Americans, even though we hate each other, are still going to continue doing missions together to the space station right up through next year. So
That's just a front. They're sipping scotch and smoking their stogies in the back room.
but there's a movie coming out about where World War III breaks out on Earth, and there's Russians and American astronauts up in the space station, and they both get orders to kill the other astronauts. And so they have this like little battle or some shit on the International Space Station.
That should make a great sci-fi movie, huh?
Well, yeah, and also they're not going to break any of the Antarctic Treaty over, even though we're about ready to have fucking World War III nuclear war with Russia and China and shit, but we're still going to honor the Antarctic Treaty, and we're going to do joint operations in space. But outside of that,
I keep hoping people wake up and say, "Oh, phooey on you. We're done with your crap. You've been saying this and that and everything else for all this time. You got us all hyped up and, choosing sides when y'all are back there, having punch and cookies, and laughing at everybody. Come on. I mean, when we stop participating, that's when it will fall. That's when it will die.
Motherfuckers are sitting back there and somebody says, what's going to happen when they uncover this lie? And they're like, who gives a fuck? We'll be dead.
They're going to come
already have all
after
this
us and
money
kill
in
us.
there. Yeah.
That's what they're saying. What they're really saying is that if the world really wakes up, if the people actually wake up, that there will be no place for them to hide. Not us, but them. That's what they're worried about. So they're going to fight to keep hold of every mind that they possibly can.
Well, yeah. But it's not working. They're losing disastrously.
Right, because we won't shut up.
Yeah, that's it. And people are just like saying it like it is anymore too. They're not putting up with the fucking bullshit.
Right.
I'm tired
people
of this.
People used to try to tell me to shut up. And one time I said, I'm not shushable. You can't shut me up. I'm going to say what I need to say and what I want to say. And I can't wait for everyone to be one of the non-shushables. Keep telling, okay, stop.
Who is that making that yip noise?
That was my little chihuahua.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Keepers up by the bed, she's trying to keep him off. Lay down. But yeah, I just hope people don't shush. Keep telling the truth. Keep bringing more things to light. Yeah. And even if it's not relevant, the fact that you're bringing it up, going, "Hey, I'm questioning this. What do you think?" Getting other people to think, that's interesting, right? A little light bulb goes on, and maybe someone has some information you don't have and can put the pieces together that you're missing. So
hopefully.
So that, yeah, I think we should all be non-shushable.
We're in the deepest cosmic window. Yeah, Santos was he got kicked off the fucking YouTube, man. He like went completely going. It's one of the unshushables, worst dogs. Yeah, let me tell you what, when Cece goes off, that's it. And half the time, bless her little heart, what happens is Fabio, he's old, right? And he's kind of reminds me of the old shell shock veteran in the nursing home, you know, he just wakes up going, incoming, you know, and he'll do that and start barking. Well, that gets Cece going. Now, she don't know what she's barking at, but she's going to be the best at it she can be.
Right.
And that's what she does. I swear to God, it's funny as shit. She go outside and she can't see what the other dogs are barking at, but she's going to get in on it, you know. Just
well,
as
see,
long.
he's tall enough now. When he stands on his hind feet, his head comes above the bed, and my bed's actually pretty tall. And so she comes to the edge, and she will play with him from the bed. But when she wants my attention too, she acts like he's hurting her. So she gets like, but she's the one instigating it.
Wow. So this astronaut here, he is he's talking live, I guess, to people on the internet or some shit. Like, so we can't hear the other side of the conversation. I guess you have to be hooked up to it.
The biggest challenge I face is probably patient. I'm not a very patient guy. It's everything from looking at new medicine with developing new drugs.
Why do you keep doing that, man?
And then just hanging out because we're all pretty much buddies. And it's like flying all the time. And I wanted to know more, and then I just got hooked from that moment on, and I never looked back.
Oh boy.
Over.
That's just some of the worst. I mean, my green screen thing works better than that. You know?
Yeah, that's
my green screen thing works better than that. Shit.
But I still question it because anybody like you yourself can use that background and then make it seem realistic, or try to, and then like that, see all the screw ups.
But I wasn't using a background. I was really there. I was really
exactly my point.
Right. See, I was really there. You guys don't understand. He was doing cocaine. Yeah, he probably was. What's his mom called? He's mad at him for lying to everyone. Yeah, no doubt, right? So you ever get those things that make you prove that you're not a robot? You know, on some kind of thing, you try to get into it and they call it a CAPTCHA or some shit like that. This is kind of interesting. You might want to listen to this.
Didn't realize was when you click I'm not a robot, what it actually does when you press that button. They're collecting data at the same time. Have a listen.
Ticking the box is not the point. It's how you behaved before you ticked the box that is analyzed. Broadly speaking, you tick the box and it prompts the website to check your browsing history. So let us say, for example, just before you tick the box, you watched a couple of cat videos, you, liked a tweet about Greta Thunberg, you checked your Gmail account before you got down to work. All of that makes them think that you must be a human. Essentially, when you are clicking I am not a robot, you are instructing the site to have a look at your data and decide for itself.
Let me get this right. When you tick I am not a robot, it can go through your history.
Yeah, you're authorizing
it. Yeah, you're telling it it's okay. Go and have a look what I've been looking at.
This really disappoints
I had no idea. I didn't realize was when you
Ain't that fucked up, man?
Yeah.
It was like,
and you can't view it till you do that little thing too.
Yes.
You are not allowed to go forward. You can't skip. You can't do opt out, nothing. If that isn't a phishing scam.
Of course it is. Of course it is. That's what they're trying to get you. What's this? I
don't care if they want to go look at what I look at, then maybe they'll learn something. That's all I gotta say.
I think this is funny as shit. This young guy decided he was gonna try to go with the old bull. This is pretty funny. Watch this.
Oh, we going after him. Oh, he cracked him too. I'm gonna hurt ya. I'm gonna hurt ya. Yeah. Ooh, oh! Oh! You got knocked the fuck out, boy! Knocked the fuck out!
See, and that's what cracks me up, man, because it's a lot of times these younger guys, you know, oh, come on, boomer, blah, 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 blah. They don't know.
Right.
They ain't got a fucking clue.
They
And
ain't
that's
got
how
the
they learn.
experience.
That's how they learn, I guess, man. That's how they're gonna learn. Oh, is this that thing? Yeah, let me see. Is this the part one? This one is the part one. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. This is regarding the moon landings, man. This is regarding the moon landing. So this is kind of cool, man.
Well, the reason they couldn't mention stars or take photographs of stars is that the astronomy buffs at Vanderbilt or Harvard or UCSC would have found the errors instantly.
His friend, you know, the person who spoke with him here.
Right. Do you want me to mention him by name?
I think so.
Okay, why not?
Yeah.
Of course, Lee is kind of a reclusive person, but I don't mind mentioning his name. We can't live forever.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
James Irwin was the command pilot on Apollo 15. James, after his return from the moon, became a born-again Christian. At one point, he came to Nashville, Tennessee, to give a lecture on Christianity and his conversion there too. And at that time, he met a local Nashville resident by the name of Lee Galvani. Well, Lee implored James Irwin to confess, to tell the truth about the Apollo hoax, of which Lee was convinced. Well, evidently, he made some inroads into Jim Irwin's conscience, because in August of 1991, James Irwin called me at my home. And he said, I understand you've written a book called We Never Went to the Moon. He says, come to think of it, this phone could be tapped. He says, I want you to call me at my home on Friday in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So I said, okay, Jim, I'll call you. And he gave me his home phone number. Well, when I called him on Friday, James Irwin was dead. He had died of a heart attack.
Interesting, huh? You muted.
It is, man. They did a lot to cover up on this shit, man. And it's
Well,
like
he said, he goes, the line could be tapped, and then he gives them this information of where to, yeah.
Right.
Smart move.
But, you know, that's the thing. These people that always say, you know how many people would have to be in on it? Yeah. And you know, anybody that opens their mouth, what happens to them?
Right. They swear to secrecy.
Tell me about the pilot who phoned in one of your guest appearances on the talk radio program.
Oh, while I was on a radio show concerning Apollo, an airline pilot called me and he said, Bill, I think you're right, because while I was traveling from San Francisco to Tokyo, we saw a C-5A drop a capsule out of its cargo hold. The three orange parachutes opened and it descended toward the ocean. And even though we were traveling at about 550 knots, we followed this descent as long as we could. When the command capsule returns to Earth,
this is really telling too. Think about this. We've all seen the capsule splash down, right?
Yeah.
Think about this.
The
atmosphere we've seen it on TV.
Right, but here's what they were saying is these guys saw this thing pushed out of a fucking aircraft.
Right.
Right? It didn't come in through the atmosphere. But here's something people don't think about when that capsule touches the water. He's about to tell you.
Come red hot due to friction at high speed. Well, when a command capsule strikes an ocean, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, this red hot capsule should have turned a large volume of seawater into steam instantly. Just like when you pour water into a hot pot on the stove, it's called flashing into steam. But in all of the photographs showing the capsule hitting the water, there's no indication whatsoever of any steam, of any indication that the capsule was really red hot. On December 7th, 1975, I was invited to discuss my book at radio station KOME in San Jose, California. The moderator or talk show host was Victor Bach. About halfway through the broadcast, the engineer came into the control room, or the room where we were giving our information, and he said, "We're off the air." Subsequent investigation indicated that someone in a helicopter had dropped napalm on the KOME transmitter in the Gilroy Hills, causing $250,000 worth of damage and effectively cutting off the station from the air for 3 days. Well, police came to the station and offered us police protection because callers into the station said, "What happened to you? You had this fellow on about we never went to the moon, and suddenly your radio station goes off the air." So to me, this was the first real life indication that there was somebody that didn't want me to tell this story.
You think?
That's right.
You think? There's a part 2 to this too.
That the site.
Yeah, man. Just like the hell, they nuke our channels for this shit, right?
Any astronomer will tell you that the sight of the celestial heavens from the surface of the moon by astronauts would have been breathtaking, overwhelming, and certainly would have evoked a tremendous response on the part of any human being on the moon. Now, what I have to ask is, why didn't the astronauts take a telescopic camera to the moon and take pictures of Saturn, Venus, Mars, the galaxies? They could have gotten pictures of the stars that are impossible to get on Earth because of the atmospheric interference. Micrometeorites are particles ranging in size, say, from a grain of sand on up to something formidable like the size of a human fist. Well, micrometeorites rain on the surface of the moon constantly.
Right.
It's known that 25,000 meteorites enter the Earth's atmosphere every day. But they don't harm anybody because the majority of them are burned up by the atmosphere and they're very, very rapid transit. On the moon, there's no atmosphere. The meteorites rain down on everything, on anybody who happens to be there, any equipment on the surface. Had astronauts gone to the moon, they would have been pelted and pierced by micrometeorites traveling up to 30,000 miles per hour. One wonders why they were able to get such perfect photographs on the moon when obviously micrometeorites could have gone right through the Hasselblad cameras and the film.
Good. Let's talk a little bit about the radiation outside the Van Allen radiation belt.
The Van Halen radiation belt.
You know, Bart, I really know so little about that. Renee is such an expert that I'll beg off on that point because I know little or nothing about the radiation in space, but he has it down absolutely cold.
Tell us about the what about the air conditioning in the lunar module?
Oh yeah, the air conditioning. No, it's not a Mandela effect. They just claim that now. They used to not claim it. Now they claim it, that the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere because their shit doesn't add up. And so they just make up more bullshit to add on top of it.
So,
Oh,
okay.
well, I can talk
Question
about
here.
that.
What do you think a meteor shower is? Because we know we do see those. They can say that there's going to be a meteor showers on such a night. If it's clear, you can see them. So, what do you think they are?
I have no
I'm
idea.
not saying they're moon rocks. I'm just saying, what do you
I have
think
I have
causes the
no idea
phenomenon?
what they are.
Me neither.
No, I have no idea what they are.
You
Unless
think
someone
they're
can actually
federal
capture
government
one.
fireworks way up high?
Well, I don't know unless they've had the ability to do that for a few centuries or more.
Well,
Because we have reports of that for
I was kind of half-assed being sarcastic, but
right.
I mean, if you can send something up higher than our normal fireworks, you would see them way up there, and they look like some kind of a shower, right? But anyways, I don't know what they are. But
Carrie says it's a dome shedding. Maybe. But I don't know what it is.
Dome
I do
shedding, it's
know.
dinosaur skins.
I do know that it's not fucking rocks from space. I know that. Because that would be a violation of physical law.
Talk about that. The lunar module on the moon was assailed by sunlight unobstructed by any atmosphere. The surface of the moon, when the sun is shining on it, is about 250 degrees Fahrenheit. One has to ask, how were the astronauts able to air cool or water cool or cool in any way the interior of the lunar excursion module? They only had batteries, and batteries run down very quickly when they're running air conditioning equipment. So it's obvious to almost anybody who investigates the lunar excursion module that there would have been no way to keep the astronauts alive in an environment that was hot enough to bake cookies. The lunar ascent and descent engines were propelled by hypergolic propellants. And that means that propellants which, when they are mixed, ignite spontaneously. Now, these two propellants produce a very hot red gas. I've seen them tested at Rocketdyne many times. In photographs taken on the moon, there is practically no visible gas being emitted from the ascent engine when it takes off, nor is there any indication when they are descending that there is this cloud of red gas underneath the lunar excursion module. The sounds of engines run up in excess of 150 decibels. This is far beyond the capability of anybody to converse when you have sound at that high level. And yet, in broadcasts from the moon, we hear the astronauts conversing in a normal tone of voice and saying things like "quiet ride." One of the strongest pieces of
It's because they said decibel levels are nominal. And as long as you say that first, hey.
Evidence that no one has ever landed on the moon is the fact that underneath the lunar module, underneath the engine cone, the jet nozzle, there is no crater. And yet in all of the drawings done by NASA artists prior to Apollo, they show a tremendous crater being gouged out by this 10,000 pounds thrust jet engine of the lunar descent module. I would say that the strongest piece of evidence, other than the stars, is the fact that there is no disturbance underneath the lunar excursion module upon its landing.
And we got no longer on the ball with us.
Any astronomer will tell you.
Good evening.
Hello, Dreamy. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, that's what I say. Some of the stuff that we should be seeing in their shows, we don't see.
No.
Such as the dust from their feet, bouncing up around their feet, and then it doesn't drift off, once it gets airborne, it just goes right back and lands just like here.
They just slowed down the speed. They just slowed
Now,
it
I'm
down.
not going to knock the guy, even if he doesn't know everything. He gave us a lot of information just based on the things that he was able to contribute. And that's why I say, you listen to what they say, you learn a lot by
Yeah.
what's missing, reading between those lines.
It's
There's
great
stuff
talking
missing.
point.
But he don't have that information, so we can't fault him necessarily. I'm sure there's others, but somebody dying who's going to discuss it with him, yeah, there's an issue there. I don't call that coincidence.
See, that's what cracks me up, though. Who was it? Somebody said it was a Mandela effect for them, that there are moons in the Earth's atmosphere now. And I'm like, no, they changed that. That's a new thing they came up with because of some other bullshit that people are going, no, it can't be out in space. This is crazy, So now they have to put it there because this is their thing, man. This is their thing. As long as they can make you, whatever it takes to make you think you live on a ball, they'll throw it out there. They will. Just like the NASA. No, I don't want this. I'm so desperate to push it on me. As soon as I go to space.com, first thing comes up is, do you want us to send you shit in your email about space? And I'm like, no, I don't. Stop indoctrinating me. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. It's been a long week, kind of, for being a short week. I've been working on making training videos and stuff for the wiki. I've started replacing all of them because my old ones sucked. I have OBS now, so I'm a little clearer sounding because I can boost the microphone volume.
Oh yeah.
Because it was a little bit muffled. I didn't have my hair cut yet, so I look all scuzzed out,
What was you using before?
Bandicam.
Oh, okay, like just a camera program and then uploading it.
Yeah, I just downloaded it off the internet and then was looking around forever to try to find something, and then I noticed it says Bandicam at the top of my screen. I'm like, oh man, good grief. So anyway, that's what I'm using right now, actually, is OBS, and that's how I have this overlay on me and stuff, so I can change stuff around, my view and stuff like that. So it's pretty sweet. So I've been having fun with that. So I've been making some training videos, how to make links and la-di-da-di. So it's been kind of fun.
Wow, you ate that one up there, MKUltra. That's Ophiuchus. Maybe that's the German word for it, because I am that sign. That's the 13th zodiac sign.
Oh,
Ophiuchus. It's a dragon, a snake.
Oh, I gotta look that one up. Thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is, and I'm seeing more and more people talking about this time hijack. I just see random posts come up, somebody coming up, did you know there should be 13 28-day months? And I'm like, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I've heard of the 13-month thing, and I'm also heard that I think the Jewish calendar, la-di-da-di, I don't know, went back and forth between 13-month and I don't know. Anyway, it's all screwed up. New Year's is a fake New Year's. It's probably more like April Fool's Day is probably more like New Year's. That's why they call it April Fool's, because you're an idiot, because they're freaking scumbag terrorists that have changed everything.
Well,
the natives always went by the moon for their, timeline. They didn't go by anything but that.
Yeah.
They were forced with the calendar down their throat.
And the signs and the zodiac and the sun alignment or something like that, right? For the time. Yeah.
They that again, you can see by the use of that term, you're right, spot on about the April Fool's thing. It was anyone that still used the pagan April as the new year, they were just a fool, and just like today, going to use mockery and ridicule to force their bullshit down somebody's throat. Ooh, I don't want to catch any smoke like that. They made him wear a stupid hat and sit up in front of everybody. I'm just going to keep my fucking mouth shut and believe everything they tell me. You know, that's what goes on. That's what it's intended for.
Yep.
Make an example of you for questioning.
They should have been just punched in the face.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, I agree.
Their people were, that's the problem. And I was thinking about that with all of the, I guess people who grew up to become blue-haired freaks. You know, those kind of people.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
We were too nice to them in high school.
Well, you had to be, because they were the ones that were the suck-ups, right?
Yeah.
They were the ones that were favored by academia, right? Because they were all in. And of course, by being all in and being favored that way and getting all those attaboys and everything, that just encourages one to go into it deeper, you see, getting the strokes. So they come by it honestly because of the human nature and the way the compulsory school system is designed. And so they can run through basically with that same type of thing, any kind of an agenda they want to. And as we've seen since the 50s, at least, they have been slowly and surely instilling socialistic ideals into each coming class that comes in. They increase it with a little bit more. Sometimes they go a little too far and the parents go, hey, that's too much. But it's gotten to the point now that people don't even understand what socialism even is. They just know that, hey, we should be against it. Okay, I'm against it too. I am against my money being stolen against my will and used for shit that I don't think should be used, right? So let's get rid of welfare. Let's get rid of Social Security. Let's get rid of Medicare, Medicaid, all these social programs.
Yep.
HUD out the fucking window. HUD, you're gone. You're gone, right? Everything that has to do with that kind of bullshit, because that is not government's job. Government's job is to protect the individual rights of the citizen. That is it. And to conduct their commerce, as Dreamy was talking, not to steal my shit and give it to somebody else because they may or may not need it. Look, that's up to me. If I want to be charitable and help someone out, that's up to me.
That's right.
Okay?
Charity comes from the heart.
Exactly. You can't force charity.
Yeah, forced charity is never a good idea. That's what the churches used to do too. When there was somebody who was in need, they would go to the church. And the church, of course, was full of members because people tended to be a little bit more religious back in these older days because times were hard. But they weren't taxed to death, so therefore they could be more charitable to the church, and then the church had money to give to people who were in need.
Did you ever hear somebody having to go to the poorhouse?
Not really. I would think
I've been relegated to going to the poorhouse. You know, you're going to put me in the poorhouse, right? What does that mean?
Yeah.
There used to be a thing called the poorhouse. We have one now. We have one here from back in the day, and it's on Poorhouse Road.
Wow.
And it was a place for like a widow, you know, who's destitute, her husband gets killed in a logging accident or something else like that. And it was a charitable place where they could live and stay and, you know, do work around the place and for their keep and their board and their meals. And they had this all over the place. There was a place called, they called it the poorhouse.
Right. And biblically, before the Hebrews switched gods, they lived the same way. And if you go back to like the Abraham story, he was like one of the matriarch. What would you call a man? The head of household, whatever they call
patriarch. The patriarch.
Yeah, the patriarch. Sorry, getting my words confused here. And so,
kind of like one of them damn women livers.
So, what their family needed to live and get by with through the year was for them, but everything that was in abundance that they didn't need, they gave to the other family members that didn't have as much, and then out into the community. So we see how it was supposed to be working until it was all flip-flopped. And it is a biblical thing that, you know, if you have something and you can share it with somebody that doesn't, that's less fortunate for whatever reason, a widow or whatever, you know, children missing a parent.
Yep, it was a charitable thing that, and people would donate to the poorhouse, you know, secondhand clothes, things like that, you know, and government was not involved. It had
Right.
nothing to do with government,
Right.
you know. As soon as you get government into it, it becomes a nightmare. So
And-
on the terms of the socialistic aspect of it, of course, we know in an extreme communist nation, everybody's cut down to the lowest denominator, and only those that really have anything are those that are in the higher echelons of the state. Okay,
Right.
because everything belongs to the state, right? Including you. Well, you can look at that as it's on its journey by just gauged on what we have now. Okay. It costs in excess of $70,000 a year to keep an unwed mother and 2 children in poverty.
Right.
Okay.
But also,
Where
if
now
you-
where would $70,000 in charity go? How could that be used? You see, if it's in the private sector as opposed into the government. So what they're doing, it's still just a microcosm of that overall big communist thing where they still don't got shit and they're taking it from you. But who's getting the lion's share of it? Certainly is not the people that it's intended for.
Well, see, also charity was also reduces one's sins. One's sins is their taxes.
Okay.
Get it? Get it? The churches do it. That's why they're under 50c3. I mean, there's a lot of good information in the Bible if you know how to read it.
Right.
A lot of it is law.
Right. Well, yeah, that was the original, basically the law.
So if you were out there being charitable and giving, just like now, they reduce your taxes.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Hey, that book you were talking about, The Creature, from Jekyll Island. Yeah, I found a link to that. You can look at it on archive.org.
Oh, cool.
So I'll share that in the...
Let me go over here so I can grab that. Found a really perplexing thing regarding Ashley Biden, or Naomi Biden. I'm sorry. Where am I at? Hold on a second. Let me go over here. I want to pull that up so that I have it bookmarked. Ding, 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 ding. There we go. Now I can go back to this. But she is saying that Joe Biden died like a while back. She's his granddaughter, right? And she says that he died a while back. Hey, let me let you listen to what she says.
I'm going to do it anyway. My grandfather, Joe Biden, does have a twin. And that twin is currently pretending to be Joe Biden in the White House. So, unfortunately, my grandfather, Joe Biden, passed away about 4 years ago. But, you know, he had built up this really long political career. And my family still wanted to have a bit of power in the U.S. government. So we just replaced Joe with his twin brother, Bo.
What do you think?
I call bullshit unless I can go up and poke the body myself and piss on it.
He might like that. He might think you want to be his boyfriend. You go up there and piss on him. You don't know what kind of sick shit these freaks are into, man.
No doubt.
I say they can put in people to stand in for others. I believe they've been doing that for a very long time. And we know that just by taking a look at the people. How does Hillary Clinton go from stumbling and falling down and looking like an old decrepit lady with so many wrinkles in her face to a young lady walking out like she's been renewed and rejuvenated. What kind of miracle magic is that bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
If everybody remembers that scene, that was the craziest of all times. It was in everybody's face. They sent out a different person, not the same one.
That jack wagon there on the right, that's Biden. Okay. I don't know who that motherfucker on the left is. It's clearly not the same dude, man.
Mm-hmm.
I still say he looks like the dude from Peanut, you know. What's his name? The old man that doesn't like his wife. Jeff Dunham's puppet.
Yeah, that grumpy old puppet on the
I cannot remember
Jeff
his
Dunham
name.
show. I can't remember either.
Someone in chat will remember. They told me last time.
It's basically like NASA, you know, they put up these videos
Walter.
and then they have, yeah.
It's Walter.
And NASA has these stupid flaws in them and everybody goes, oh gosh, this is so fake, you know, kind of a thing. And it's just a mockery. And, you know, there's people who are asleep, of course, don't see it and they'll make excuses for it and all this good crap. But regardless, even if the majority of people said, hey, I'm calling foul, this Joe Biden is fake, he's a clone, there ain't nothing anybody can do about it. And that's why they smear it in your face and they don't give a crap anymore. Our country hasn't had an elected president since at least George Washington that was actually democratically elected. They're all terrorists. They took over a country, and people need to be prepared because they really actually want to massacre everybody. So if you don't want to be a slave,
yep, you're either gonna comply or you're gonna die. That's the way they look at it.
Yeah.
But I got news for them. They ain't run across people like me and you, man. I mean, I don't think they don't know how to deal with this. They couldn't deal with this in fucking school. They can't deal with me now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I already know this. I come by it honest. My dad actually had a teacher leave the classroom and walk him home, knock on the door with tears in her eyes, and just said, do something with him. And it was only because he would ask the logical questions that they could not fucking answer. Same as I did, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I was too dumb to do that when I was a kid. I was just too busy, you know, just goofing off, you know what I mean, to be serious enough to ask questions. I didn't give a crap. They said.
See, there's some major differences. Jawline, brow line, the way the earlobe is.
Right.
It's clearly not the same guy, man. Now, this might be legitimately a guy that looked a lot like the real Joe Biden and even changed his name legally to Joe Biden. You know, so they can say, well, yes, it is him, and here's his name, and it's real, and this, that, and the other. But it's definitely not the same person, not unless they squished his head all up in a putty bin and remade it. I mean, look at that. No. I'm sorry.
Look at the Elvis Presley impersonator thing that they get together and do every year in Vegas.
Oh, my God.
And look at how many some of those actually look like him. I mean, they've really mastered the art of actually taking on his, you know, appearance and persona.
Is this the guy you're talking about right there? Right, Dreamy? That puppet right there?
Yep. I just think he's hilarious.
I
love Peanut.
Like you gotta admit, it does look like him.
Gay. Yeah. Peanut's funny.
But I mean, it's like, how many of these motherfuckers have they had? Look at this shit. This guy, I can remember when he was this young up here in the top left. I can remember that. And he's been a pervo forever. He has been I've read shit. And what was that book by Carol Quigley? Is that who wrote it? No. This one was one. It was written by. He was an ex FBI agent, and he was one of the 2 officers in charge of doing background checks at the White House for staff. And he'd been there. He only had a couple years to retire, and the Clintons came. And he got so disgusted, he fucking quit with only a couple of years left to retire. And he had a book, Gary Aldrich. Is that his name? Damn it.
Google it.
It was called Unlimited Access is the name of the book. Let me see if I can remember. I can look it up. Unlimited Access.
Sometimes we have to have something to jog our memory, and Google seems to be good for it most times. Or searching it.
Oh man, come on. This thing's gone. Oh, they're wanting to give me unlimited access to all kinds of stuff. I'm man, look, you can get there it is. Yeah, Gary Aldrich. Gary Aldrich. You can get it for $5 now. But he talked about walking into rooms in the White House, and there's dudes up there, doing what they were taking pictures of doing in the fucking Capitol building the other day where they got caught.
You can get it for free. There you go. There's a link in your.
It's there too. Holy shit!
That's why they got the Oral Office. It's not the
Oral
Office.
Yeah, that's what Rush Limbaugh used to call it. Rush
Oral
Limbaugh
Office.
The Oral Office. Hell yes. Let me see.
They're such a joke, and I wish people would actually see it and stop, being so in tune to it and just let them fall off the earth, man.
What did Mr. Loon get? What did Loon get timed out for? Just being a wienerhead? Is that what happened there? Let me see. There it is. Let me get that. I'm trying to get that book. There we go. So what was there? Somebody in there with another fucking sock name? Let me see. I wasn't paying attention to the chat a whole lot. There was somebody in here saying that I'm a loon or some shit. Like, I don't know. You get some real good ones. It's probably Nick in his sock account again. I mean, the poor dude topped out at what, 9th grade, 10th grade, maybe. And that was it. He just topped out there, and that was the end of him. Wow. I feel bad for the guy. I really do. He should go see somebody about that, little problem he's got going on. Because he's not doing any favors to himself. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, I blame the state. I mean, they took away a lot of these mental health places. Like maybe there was some abuse, like, back in One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, how they would take people just for not wanting to talk, like the chief, right? He just didn't want to talk. So they threw him in the loony bin and jab you up with all this crap. I mean, that's pretty sad. But realistically, the fact that they got rid of these places is a real detriment to society, because nicks and things like that could definitely, get some service there, get some help. Mm-hmm.
My wife can be at the door, letting all the other dogs go out, and Brandy will be sitting here, and even if she's got a bust to piss, she won't go unless I tell her to go. It's like I only listen to Daddy. I only, and it's like she's such a brat. She is such a brat. So I had to tell her, I was like, you go on out with Mommy. You go do your business. It's funny as hell. Got some more crazy.
Dogs have their own minds. They don't care what other people have to say. They have their own mind.
Yeah, well, these ones here too, it's like it's turned into I am their trained old guy. I'm their pet old guy. I'm here to let them in and out, pet their bellies, and give them treats. That's my whole existence. That's what I exist for.
Well, back when I was younger and people were saying that, no, dogs just live on instinct and this and that, and they can learn these tricks and crap. And that's the biggest lie ever. Mine actually communicate. I've witnessed it myself. Plus, also, sometimes all I have to do is think of something and they will actually respond to it without
That's how
saying
they
a word.
listen. That's how they communicate. If they're on the same wavelength as you, and I mean that seriously,
Mm-hmm.
if you can get on their same vibing with you, like, you know, whatever it is, it gets them like totally paying attention to you, and you know where you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You can think what you want that dog or cat to do, and they'll do it.
Well,
That
you
ain't
think
no
about
shit.
if
You just visualize it. All you got to do
Right.
is just visualize it. And
Also, if somebody's sad or something's happened and whatnot, they'll be more attentive to you, you know, for
yeah,
whatever reason, because they feel the same things that you're feeling.
they're
They know that you're
empathic.
sad or whatever.
Yep, they're empathic like crazy.
Yeah.
So I got some stuff from NASA over here, and you see if you recognize some of you that have been looking into this for quite some time. See if you recognize any of these faces that you see. Right off the bat, I'm talking about the one all the way on the right. You'll know who that is. That's good old Stanley Kubrick. There he is. Kubrick was looking at that and saying, I don't know, man, it needs more foil. It needs more gold foil on it. Absolutely. All I can think of when they show him is that movie producer they used in Wag the Dog. It was Dustin Hoffman's character. I always think about that character when I see Kubrick now. Look at this guy, man. He's just hanging out going, yeah, all right, lighting's good. Camera, action. There they are putting the magic foil curtain rods together.
Oh, geez, where'd you find this? Wow.
This is some of the outtakes that Julian Assange released as he languishes away in prison for telling people the truth. Bullshit, man. Look at that. Pretty freaking amazing, if you ask me.
Julian Assange has helpers now because there's people suing the federal government for snooping. So it could move things forward a bit, we hope.
I hope so. Well, it's moving forward without him, even. Putin was just looking and told that the close examination of the Apollo moon landings show that they were faked. So Russia's onto it. And of course, they already knew that. That's just part of the show. So why were we allowed to know that Putin was told this? Why were we allowed to know that? Right? Soft disclosure. Soft disclosure. Because if you tell it just came out, if they just came out and said, yeah, we fucked you. There's no moon landing. There never was. And we don't know how to get there. We just fucked you. You know? People would lose their fucking minds. But if they come to it slowly, the impact isn't as hard. You know, I guess that's their thinking behind it. But then
yeah, the Earth's flat too. We you know, we knew it the whole time.
Sure.
Right.
There's a couple more. That little irritating discord of music isn't probably needed, I don't think. So we get it. There it goes. Apollo hoax. Come on.
Link me to that and I'll put that on the wiki.
See that thing up above? It turns like that. You've seen those tool rests that you can hang like pneumatic tools on. They're on a springed coil of cable, so that it supports its weight and you can operate it easier without, and it's just pulling on a. Yeah, that's kind of like, see the guy in the background. That's what he's doing. It kind of works like that. And it'll only allow them apparently to go so low to the ground, because when they drop shit, they was all done. They couldn't pick it back up. Moon shining.
Yeah, what's that clip called?
I'll get you. Hold on, I'll get you the link here in just one hot sec. Let me.
Okay, thank you.
Grab that. It was both of them are right here on this. Copy, putting it in the chat. Paste. There it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to download. I'm going to download those so that I have them on my computer, because shit like that ends up disappearing. And
well, it can disappear off your computer too. I know that because it's happened to me.
But that's why after I download these things, I have an external hard drive where I keep them, and I don't have it always connected, only when I'm transferring files.
Yeah. Put it
So
on
was
hard
that
disk.
That was the same link twice.
What?
I think that was the same link twice there that you.
What it does, it should take you to this Ghost Gone guy, his tweet. Let me make sure. Let me make sure I got it in there. It should take you to his tweet, and his tweet is actually. If that doesn't work, I'll bring up each one individually and do it. See what that does. Is that the right one? Let me see what I gave you before. Twitter Ghost Gone status 174. Can also do it this way. I can go copy here, paste it here. Then I can do the other one, and I can. I'll get them to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's sweet. I would love to put that on the. Oh, I see. /video1/video2. Okay, interesting.
Right.
Okay.
He's got two of them listed on here. So have you ever seen where like heavy people, obese people, they always say, "Oh yes, I'm big boned," right?
That's just wrong.
I know. I've thought, well, wait a second, man. Your bones aren't no bigger than nobody else's. It's going to fall within the same range as what everybody's skeletal frame comes up to. And this is, there's an x-ray that says you're not big boned, you're fat.
Also, It's what people eat, and they don't realize it's the chemicals that have caused it, whether it be medication, food enhancers, preservatives, those kind of things. Yep. So no matter how hard they try to lose weight, or whatever, people think, oh, well, they just sit there and they just stuff their face all day. That's not true.
See, this right here, this fella is suffering from. Now you got to figure this, man. That little skeletal frame right there, trying to hold all of that all the time. Right. That's going to give you some problems, right?
That's what causes pain.
If you look by the right side, you can tell that this guy suffers from what's known as dicky-do. Now, dicky-do is a condition where your belly stick out more than your dicky-do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you,
you got to use special wands and special clamps and mirrors and crap, right?
Get a selfie stick out so you can.
Yeah, makes it tough to go pee, probably.
Which brings us to another quagmire. How do blind people know when they're done wiping?
No shit. I don't know. I don't know.
I never ever even thought to think about that.
Me neither.
Well, that'll keep you up.
Leave it to Sovereign.
That'll keep it up for a while. There you go. The warmonger's still getting along enough not to break the Antarctic Treaty, even though we're right at each other's throat, right at the brink of World War III, nuclear destruction, mutually assured nuclear destruction. We're not going to break that Antarctic Treaty, baby. It's not going to happen. We're not going to do it because look here. This is what we got to find. This is big news. This came to me on space.com today on an alert, and I'm going to share this with you. This is beautiful. All right. It says here that NASA and Russia will keep launching each other's astronauts to the ISS until 2025. So I guess that means that there's no worry of going to war with Russia this year. We're going to postpone it long enough to be able to take these guys. This is a little video they have on here too. This little thing over here showing the International Space Station being built. But keep in mind, there is no video of the ISS being built. This is an animation, but we're not going to show that because it's ridiculous. But there it is right there. This is being pummeled by micrometeorites on a daily basis and surviving it all. And it says, let me see if I can get this brought up bigger for y'all. There you go. That looks better, right? Look at that beautiful picture of, it looks like one of those fancy fucking TV antennas you get to boost when your TV signal. Remember those back in the 70s and 80s?
Yeah.
Get them at Radio Shack. It's probably what it is.
The Moonlander looked like what they used back in the 70s, the tinfoil ball.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it says NASA and Russia have agreed to keep launching American astronauts and Russian cosmonauts on each other's spacecraft. Roscosmos, that's the Russians, of course, announced both it and NASA will continue the International Space Station launches with each other's crew members through at least 2025 to maintain the reliability of the ISS as a whole. Reliability, what the fuck is it doing anyways? It's not doing anything. It's just, well, we won't have anywhere to chase each other in gorilla suits, I guess.
I think they just missed the I between the S's. Just a sign.
ISIS, like the ISIS. It says space.com has reached out to NASA officials for comment. NASA and Roscosmos have an existing agreement to launch crew members on each other's spacecraft to allow for independent launch access for both nations and backup in case of trouble. Right now, the manifest includes SpaceX Dragon for NASA missions and the Soyuz for Russia. When Boeing Starliner is ready, presumably it will be included too for U.S. missions, of course.
Oh, yeah, because they're such good friends.
Yeah, except for that nuclear missile thing.
Now, I wanted to bring up something because that just reminded me. I was watching this weather deal, and the guy was showing the winds. And it's funny because, we've talked about they say that claim there's like 4 rivers, right? That come from the Garden of Eden or whatever. I've heard people talk about that. Mm-hmm. Well, what I saw, they showed like the globe model with the winds and the trade winds and all that, But then and this is on some government site. I didn't get the name of the site, but anyways, then they show it from the top. And there's literally 4 bands of this jet stream that comes out from the very center from looking down on it at the top. And it looks like 4 rivers flowing. Of course, it's wind, was supposed to be wind. But anyways, it was talking about the winds up here and then Pacific Northwest. So I was watching it because it had to do with our weather. And we have had nothing but drippy. It's not raining. It's foggy and drippy. Mm-hmm.
It's been like that here too.
Everything's been wet since well before Christmas.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. So why would they, NASA or whoever's putting out these this information, why would they have a model showing it from the top with the winds going in the different directions? I say there's more going on and they know it.
Well, of course, they always is. So this is interesting. They said that this is gonna that the ISS is manifested to last until at least 2030. So then it's what, no good anymore? As most of the international coalition has agreed to stick with it. Russia will remain until 2028 or so, based on the most recent reports. The country is working on a different set of space plans in the future. And here's the thing I was showing you about how the space station was put together. This is really realistic. So once again, building the International Space Station. This is how they did it. And you didn't even know it. You never saw any video, nothing. They just told you this shit. No, we don't have any sound. Hold on. Gotta have that little song. Hypnotize you. Look at that.
I guess there's true values even in outer space.
There is.
It's freaking gay.
How many trips do they have to make to get all that stuff up there, right? If that's what they're going to claim.
Well, yeah. And why is there no actual video of it being assembled?
Right. This
is supposedly like the greatest achievement of mankind.
This looks like a computer program.
It is a computer program. It's a simulation.
They're building a 3D mesh, basically. You can use 3D Max, SketchUp, Blender, those types of things to do this very thing.
Look like Lego pieces to me.
And also, they have, what are those new machines? You put the plastic thread through and it makes you something. I forget what they call those things.
I don't know, man. Oh man.
You know what I'm talking about. They can cast things by using that machine.
Oh, a 3D printer?
Yes, a 3D printer. Yeah.
Yeah, my son's got 3 of them or 4 of them, I think, in his room.
Wow. Is he good at using them?
Yeah.
He knows how to model stuff, and he was selling it on Etsy for a while there.
That's cool.
Are you shitting? Lisa says that Russia's been humiliated. How in the fuck has Russia been humiliated?
I know, no doubt.
The Ukrainians are conscripting people with Downs now.
Mm-hmm.
This is no shit. The average age of their soldiers, 50. They have no more guys. Look, here's what you're going to see. You're going to start seeing this, guys. You're going to see ads. Hundreds of beautiful Ukrainian girls in your area want to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you must watch some serious fucking propaganda shit, Lisa. Holy cow. I never saw, I swear to God, outside of Ruhif, I don't think I've run across anybody that's as all in as Lisa.
Yeah.
I'm
I've
serious,
noticed that.
man. I'm serious. I've never seen anybody that's so all in on all of the bullshit. All of it, man. It's funny as shit. It's funny as hell.
As if a country led by a gay porn actor is actually, humiliating freaking Russia.
We should be humiliated for fucking supporting them.
Yeah, if we actually sent those freaking people money.
If these propaganda swallowers, if they actually understood what the fuck the Ukraine actually is.
And Russia still can't win. Russia still is playing. This is scripted bullshit. It's scripted bullshit, Lisa.
What do you mean Russia can't win?
It's scripted. It's all a game. It's
like
playing Pac-Man, 2-player Pac-Man or something,
It is.
It's meant to entertain you. That's why it's on TV, is because they can get away with lying and
Oh my God,
terrorism.
yes.
Because why? It's called free speech, just like they're trying to take away from you.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the funniest thing too, is that that's an indication, because the mainstream's going to tell you the shit like what Lisa's putting out, right? And that's how you know that it's the opposite of that. Everything they do, it's the opposite of that. Everything.
You can go to the stage and you can watch what is it, Romeo and Juliet. People have to put the two pieces together. It's a world stage. No different than if you go to the latest play. The script is worked out and everybody's got their part to perform.
So these people that say that they're not, they're separate agencies, right? I want you to listen to this part right here real carefully. Though NASA and Russia are the chief ISS partners alongside the European Space Agency, that would be the ESA, Japan, that's JAXA, Canada, relations changed in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine, to the condemnation of most of the world. No, that's not true either. It was only condemned by NATO, and that makes up a very, very small portion of the world. Okay. Yeah, NATO should be abolished anyways. Most space partnerships were severed with Russia, aside from the ISS, which remains for space policy reasons. Like, we'll tell everybody your shit's fake. Is that what that is? Russia and NASA operate different segments of the space station with different operational responsibilities. They also send up cargo, probably got a little Berlin Wall separating them, just for good measure. Different operational, they also send up cargo ships for resupply missions and interface with the crew in independent mission controls. Since 2022, Russia has teamed up with China to launch a moon-facing alliance. NASA also has its own group under the Artemis Accords, a coalition of 30-plus nations that themselves promise peaceful space exploration norms, with a subset of countries also participating in moon exploration. Well, don't you fucking people think you should get out in space first? That would probably be the first step, not having to fake it. The Artemis Accords aim to put astronauts on the moon no earlier than 2025, with Artemis 3, and have already launched Artemis 1 uncrewed in 2022 around the moon. And a lot of people aren't even aware of it because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody's believing it. It's just like, what the fuck ever, right? Artemis 2, with 4 astronauts on board, should launch around the moon in 2024 or so. Or so. My bet's on the or so aspect of it. So there you go. Even though we're about to nuke each other, supposedly, we're still going to help each other out up in space because, the aliens. Yeah,
well,
that's it.
Probably they're expecting flat earthers to just say, no more of this bull crap. We already know it. And that's why they're going to give up in 2030. They're probably not going to have a leg to stand on. It's just a thought.
I think they're getting noisy enough. The growth of flat earth is starting to bug the snap out of them enough, where of course you see these, soulless trolls attacking you, but also they're going to be, in my prediction, they'll be ramping up their space nonsense, their space rhetoric, their achievements, the amount of clever men that happen to be Freemasons that make wonderful things for humanity are going to be popping out of the woodworks. And it's just to be, continue their nonsense, because they have to fight. They have to fight back at this point.
They got to double down.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they really been doing, but I think they're going to have to do it some more. It's not working, I don't think.
No. Oh my God, they're sending their little troll. Around. They got their little troll army out there getting fucking whacked like little whack-a-moles, man. Mm-hmm. Like that game, the little moles pop up and just get smacked. I'm seeing it all over the place, man. All over the place. That latest, did you watch part 2 of Mind Shock's breakdown of the Craig from FTFE and Caleb debate?
No, I heard about it, but I want to.
Oh my God, man. And there's going to be a part 3. He said, I can't believe, he said, I don't think I've run across one that was this mentally challenged before, is what he was saying. And I'll tell you what, man, he's not liking it. So in response, Craig put out a video where he was pretty much just kvetching over this shit and just having a rough time, and further proving that he is indeed mentally disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
He is. I mean, you would have to be to hang on to that shit that hard, that tight. And, you know, they're all angry about it. They all act angry about the fucking shit. That's what gets me. But,
Yeah.
you know, fuck him. Who cares?
It's actually kind of pleasant to see a glober, if you will, that is level-headed. No pun intended. I mean, to actually see somebody who is just willing to actually, you know, discuss flat Earth and not go freaking ballistic.
God,
it's a miracle.
It's hard to.
Yeah.
It's hard to find them because, listen, the cognitive dissonance aspect of this is what is, I think, the hardest part to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a deep, deep, deep level of programming. Even though when you get out of it and you go, holy shit, was that ever some ridiculous crap? Wow. How did I ever believe that nonsense? Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gives, when you see it in other people and you go, holy shit, that is deep rooted. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
For something that ridiculous to be that deep rooted, to be like people believing that they're, I don't know, that they can breathe underwater or something without any, you know, or some other stupid shit. Just blows me. Like in that show I'm watching, right? These people, they got like their little folk tales and shit. These people in the Highlands, and these people's baby was sick and it was going to die. And so there was some legend about if they go put it in a tree in the forest, that the fairies will come take it and it'll go live a happy life. They'll heal it and it'll live a happy life with the rest of the fairies. And they'll replace it with a changeling of one of their babies that died. So it'll look just like their baby. And I mean, it's just like a way of coping. But for people to actually believe, you know, certainly you would have gone to the forest, somebody would have, and watched to see if this event really occurred, right? But no, they hold on to this belief. They hold on to this idea, you know. And why? Because someone told them, a parent, an elder, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, and they all thought this. So here it is. It must be true. And who am I to question it? After all these people believe it, right? Who am I to question the globe? Look how many people believe it. Yeah, that's what's scary. Why would people believe? Why would so many people believe such a ridiculous, preposterous idea?
Yeah. You know, and how are all these scientists and people with master's degree? You think you're smarter than all of them,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go again with this authenticate my account. I swear.
So yeah, they're definitely accusing you of things like that. So what I like to use on people who accuse you of trying to be smarter than all of these scientists and people with master's degree, you know, I don't think they're all lying. Let's put it that way. But I refer back to Edwin Hubble's quotes. You know, the ones, of course, you know, if we occupy a unique position, it's unwelcome and therefore it would be a last resort. So we disregard this possibility. There's science. We have an unwelcome idea. We can't disprove it. So, but we're going to disregard it. But the unwelcome favored location must be avoided at all costs because the favored position, of course, is intolerable. Therefore, to escape the horror of a unique position, we have to basically do anything to avoid something that can't be disproven, and that's your science.
Yeah.
So do you think you're better than all of these scientists? Let's see. We must avoid this at all costs because it's a horror, and yet it says it can't be disproven. And then this other quote says the whole thing is so much bigger than I am, and I can't understand it. So I just trust myself to it and forget it. So do
Right.
we think we're better than the scientists? Well, no. But we do, generally speaking, we don't talk about crap like this to make up our perspective. And you see that all of these scientists today, they all admit we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Well, here's one of your giants right here. And he's saying that favored position's intolerable and we have to avoid it.
Right. Right.
Well, I keep
Listen,
saying
this
the
is
giants are actually the corporations like NASA.
the thing about that whole oh shit, I forgot. Never mind. Go ahead. I got distracted by something. But oh yeah, what I was going to say is that do I think I'm better than these scientists? Well, listen, if somebody's out there without proof pushing something that is scientifically impossible, physically impossible, and has no way to demonstrate how on earth it could be possible at all, okay, and calls himself a scientist, yes, I am better than them because I've called out the flaws in his supposed scientific theory, okay? So in that regards, yes. Now, he might be able to crochet better than me. So in those regards, he might be better than me. So it's all subjective. Better than you and what, right?
Exactly.
Critical thinking? Absolutely. It must be, or I wouldn't have come to that conclusion, right?
Well, basically, these scientists can reach their ankles better than we can, maybe. That's about it. Because basically, they're in debt. They're in major debt to go through school to be indoctrinated, and they had to regurgitate this crap to get a good grade. And if they were to say anything that's outside of the box of the giants, then they get booted. And they lose their job, and they still have, $250,000 or $500,000 of school debt that they have to pay, even though they're now unemployed and uneligible to work in any institution for science. So, yeah.
Well, that's the thing is it unfortunately, people try to use science because of the deification of it to get scientists, backing of something. And if you want a scientist backing, then you have to pay them. And so we find that a lot of scientific studies will be skewed in order to favor the results that whoever's funding it wants to see. And that's unfortunately the way that it actually works. And because nobody has any kind of scruples. I think that's the only way I can find that is that they have no scruples. They have
Hey, oh,
go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was thinking that when you were saying no one has scruples, I'm wondering if, not that that's not the case, but it's that word that people are like disagreeing with scientism. They're like, scientism isn't a thing, What's scientism? But it's like that. It's like believing or worshiping scientism and claiming that, follow the science or whatever is like they're mistaken. It's almost like people can't agree on what pseudoscience is now, even though they'll claim it means the opposite of science. You're stuck on, what's the real science, which is the scientific method, and not scientism.
Right. It's not.
Well,
scientism is like claiming science when there's no science involved in it at all. And a lot of times they do that by using complicated terms to express something very simple. You know,
Well,
like
they also came out and started pushing the term "trust the science." That became that started coming out. You see it all over the place. People and hear people saying it.
Yeah.
Trust the science. Trust what science? Because what they're giving us isn't trustworthy.
No, not for a fucking second, man. Well, and it's not science. And
go ahead.
Listen, that's a great example of what I was talking about. Okay. The science is going to support whoever's paying for it. And we found that the science was doing exactly that. And to keep you from looking to see that that's what they were doing, they said, just trust us. You don't have a lab coat, you peon. Just trust what the fuck we say here. And who are you to question us? Look at us. We're lords of the fucking science world and shit. Didn't Fauci actually say, I am science? When you question science, you're questioning me or some shit like that. It's like, what? No, you're an administrator, man. You're a politician. Shut up.
He's like somebody's dirty underwear, not worth putting on and dealing with. I'm sorry. I just don't care for people that are liars.
No, dreamy. It's not very nice.
Hey, Saab.
Yo, hang up.
Thanks for showing that picture of Gates getting that pie in the face the other night.
Like that. You know, I had it someplace.
Appreciate that.
Knew I'd run across it for too long. I started doing a little bit of that sorting and shit here today too. God damn, that's an arduous track. Having to rename things because when you just download something, they don't have a name. It just gives it some kind of a freaky ass number, and you go to name it something. You're like, oh shit, I already got something named that. Damn it, I'm gonna have to come up with something more. You know,
That's such a pain in the ass.
It is. That's all right. We'll get
same with photos. You know, we all these digital cameras and taking picture of everything. You don't want to throw nothing away. Oh man, what a curse!
You're not as careful about taking pictures nowadays as you was when it was filmed. Back when it was filmed, you were more conscious about, you know, having the right lighting to make sure the picture came out right. Because whether the picture came out good or not, you still paid to have it developed. You know, and that would piss you off to go to the photomat and get a stack of photos, pay the money, open up the envelope and find half of them weren't even in focus, or you left the fucking lens cap on or something. That's happened to me.
That's why I always liked that one where you like took the picture and then took it out and waved it in the air. Only you got to see what you took a picture of, not the dude at the 1 hour photo, Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember, but you were limited with those cameras as far as like lenses and focus and things like that, different lightings. I remember the first Polaroid when I was a little kid, really little. My dad had this Polaroid that it was flat, and then he pushed this button, and these bellows opened up, and the lens came out, and the viewfinder popped up, and it was instant film, but it had a timer, and the picture would come out, and you had to wait for this timer, and then you peeled it open. And then when you peeled it open, it was developed, but it took a certain amount of time, and you have this little timer with it, and set that timer. And then when the timer go off, you could pull the thing on. Only usually about a minute or a minute and a half, something like that.
I wanted to say things that may have happened or not in 1945, because that's old. Peeling that film off of that tape, or the actual picture off that tape.
Yeah, that was Polaroid made that.
Yep, Polaroid made it.
So anyway, they had a documentary that said that that's how they proved that an atomic bomb went off or a nuclear bomb, is because the people that made the film, like they made all that film and something like destroyed all their film, and they couldn't figure out what it was because it got like subjected to a bombardment of something, and so they like followed the timing of it, and that's how that they could tell that someone set off a nuclear explosion somewhere.
Well, how'd they get those video of the nuclear bombs blowing up those houses and those trees and all that other shit? That film made it through okay. They had actually film inside of a house with mannequins and shit. And that film went okay. So I wonder
And
what
it didn't blow up the camera.
Didn't blow up the camera. So I don't know what's going on with that. Its radiation seems to be very, very mysterious. Very selective. Oh, is this the thing? Oh yeah, I can't show this on here. About the mRNA, because they get mad. I'm thinking maybe tomorrow get started out on here and then drop YouTube and just stay on Rumble and talk about shit from the last 3 years that they won't let us talk about on YouTube. I think that might be a pretty good idea, man. Because there's a lot. Man, if we could talk about it too. There's a lot. We're 3 to 5 years, and we're at the 3-year mark.
Hey, how do you comment on Rumble if all you have is a cellular device?
It has a chat.
Well, I try to chat on Rumble and can't.
I don't know. I've
Not
never
on
done
just
it
the
on
phone.
mobile. I've never messed with it on a phone before. So I don't know. I got 6 people watching over there. 6 people. Woo! 95 watching altogether. All three different channels. That's pretty cool. But no, I don't know. I'll have to do some research on that and find out how the chat in Rumble works on a phone. Not really sure. But yeah, I think I'd like to do that because what? This can't be real.
I think we need to start standing up instead of running from place to place. They got us running and hopping and skipping and jumping and going through their hoops. And when are we going to take the stand? At what time? What point? You know, these are just opinions. We're just discussing things. We're not out here claiming.
They don't care. It's an algorithm.
I'm just saying, though, I know they don't give a shit. But when do we stand up and stop running and playing their stupid games?
We don't have to run. They kick us off, and then we don't have a platform.
That's right, because people are not actually standing up. Some people that lost their channels actually got them back for standing up, and some things have changed. But I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah.
I think
first
at some
off, though,
point
what we got to realize too,
contacting them and having a man-to-man talk, so to speak.
But see, this YouTube isn't reality. The internet isn't reality.
It's not reality, but we sure the hell are. That's why I'm bringing it
and
up.
that's the thing. We got to get as much out as we can.
Well,
People
then
are
we
smart
should
enough.
just bow down and believe everything they say. Then
What was that stuff that Alex
comply
Jones?
and die.
Alex Jones says they're polluting the water or something, making all the frogs gay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go, and that's happening to people.
He was right. Yeah,
and I know, not saying that it's making everyone gay, but it's making people not have any balls, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And nobody knows how to stand up. I'm trying to remember that guy's name. He's a flat earther from in Mexico. And he just recently has been accused of losing his freaking marbles, right? Just because he's been going ballistic. He had his channel deleted because he was talking about, some rather violent, freaking radical cutting the throat of so-and-so and so-and-so.
Oh
He
my
was
God.
just going off.
Who was doing that?
I'll try to remember his name, but I can't remember his name right offhand. Oh, yeah, Santos. Thank you, Dave Special
Santos
Agent.
Bonacci?
Yeah. and
I didn't know he went that fucking far
oh
off.
gosh, I was watching that show when it happened. I was just laughing my ass off, and there was just all of these people that were going, "Oh my God, he's lost his mind!" And yeah. See, they're writing how they in the
He's
chat. He lost his mind, and you know what? I I take a different stance on that. My stance is okay. Maybe he is losing his mind, maybe not. But way I see it is, how many friends were going to be killed? How many family are going to be turned homeless? Have their future destroyed? Your children's future destroyed? Have to live off the state? Stand in a food line? What else do they got planned for us? NASA, what? So remember that document, NASA 2025, circa
Yeah.
war because the people take over?
Yeah.
And here's all the cheap ways we can kill all you guys. How many people literally will have to be slaughtered before you get pissed off and sound just like them?
exactly. I agree
Yep.
with that. As soon as you said it, and I hadn't seen that, but that's exactly what came to mind. Every time somebody starts pointing at somebody saying that one's crazy, that one's the one that's actually telling the truth and got the facts. But yet, look at what they do. You get one person going, "Oh man, he's lost his mind. He's crazy," and then you got everyone go, "Oh yeah, he's lost his mind. He's crazy." Right?
Yeah.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Well,
Yeah, there's. I was talking to the wife about that the other day. Isn't it amazing how many other world leaders are crazy, but not ours? Right? Oh, that country, that's led by a lunatic. You know, that country there, yeah, they're led by a lunatic too. Oh yeah, Putin, he's a lunatic too. Yep. And it's sort of like, well, don't you realize they're all fucking lunatics? What the hell's wrong with you, man? They're all lunatics. God. Wake up, people. They are too, man. Psychopath. This King Charles, or this Prince Charles, the Bonnie Prince Charles, that they have in this show I'm watching, no longer on the what the fuck is it called? Outlander. Anyway, this guy, the way these royals, these elites, the way they talk, it's like this woman, she's sitting amongst these other women and they're talking about the poor, right? And she's going, doesn't it bother you that you walk by this every day and you see these people? Just yesterday, I saw a woman and her child laying dead in the streets. We shouldn't be seeing this. And the women are looking at her and they go, yes, you are right. We must petition the king, get our husbands to petition the king so they can move the poor to another less desirable portion of town. And I was like, that's not what she fucking meant, you retards. It was like, we shouldn't have this. Not that we should move it so you don't see it. That's what they took it as, move it so you don't see it. And I just thought, this is the way these people's minds are. And this prince, oh my God, the shit that he says is just insane. He truly believes that he's there by the divine right of God and he's doing the work of God and all this other shit. And I'm like, wow.
Let him eat cake, right?
Yeah.
God. Wow.
That was crazy. And I just laughed my ass off. I was like, holy shit, man. That's exactly. They haven't changed either. Let's clean up all these homeless people so that this fucking Chinese premier can come over and visit the city. What? Where'd you put them? Oh, it don't matter. Don't worry about it. They're inconsequential. They don't matter because they're homeless people.
Well, they have them barges
unsheltered.
Now they put them people in those on those barges, and even the fire department says this barge was for 500 people, not 5,000 people. And they say there's no way if there's a fire or anything like that, but they're moving homeless people onto barges out in the freaking ocean.
Oh my.
Yeah, they ain't
just
coming
leaving
back.
them out there to die, you think?
If they're white and middle-aged white,
there has been
they ain't coming back.
Yeah, there has been information where they actually put them in containers and dump them in the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't have any facts or truth. These are just things that, have come down the pipeline through the grapevine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all the Walmarts being turned into prison camps and tunnels and
Yeah, some
blah
have.
blah blah.
Some have
They
been
just
taken over by FEMA. FEMA
they've got
bought them.
so much stuff going on that it's like so hard to believe.
No.
And all we can do is just shoot whatever comes into our house to
Right.
and forget the freaking hearsays.
Somebody just
FEMA
point
and
me
the
down
Homeland
range.
Security took over once the bankruptcy was over. So we don't have an actual what is known as government in this country. We're being run by FEMA and Homeland Security.
My 2024 resolution is have a hole already dug.
Yeah, right.
Right, exactly. It is that picture where there's someone standing there with a gun telling you to dig your own hole so they can bury you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. What do you? They're gonna threaten to shoot you if you don't dig your own grave. How about this? Fuck you. You
Like
know
the
what?
good,
Because
the
you're
bad,
gonna
and the
shoot me
ugly.
anyways. You're gonna shoot me anyways. So
You
you dig
dig
the
it.
fucking hole. I don't care.
No, I'm just saying have a hole already dug just in
Yeah,
case you
I
need
don't
to hide somebody.
Yeah, dream
You
you haven't
certainly
got
don't want
cars,
to.
bro.
You certainly don't want to call the immediate authorities. Hello, I think somebody needs some medical attention. They just have to disappear. You come on the wanted or missing list.
I always liked the movie The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh my god.
That had a lot. That had a lot of information in it. If people cared to think beyond just what they were seeing it and being just a movie.
Well, I can tell you this: if you watch very carefully in the background, as this was filmed in Italy, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. A lot of that was filmed in Italy. That's why it's known as a spaghetti western. But if you look during that scene in the graveyard, the real famous one, right?
Right.
Watch in the background on the mountain, and you'll see a silver Greyhound bus or a silver tour bus go by on the mountain behind them. I'm always looking for shit that's messed up and stuff like that.
Yeah. I must have missed that one. But I know
Yeah, a lot
the
of people
graveyard
missed
scene you're
it.
talking about.
What's that? Oh, somebody's typing. That's
Moon
okay.
bounce.
Here's here's an 18-year-old tennis player. Because this is so common. 18-year-old tennis player suffers sudden cardiac arrest. Teammate and coach rush to save his life. 18. Cardiac arrest. Gotta be cocaine. Gotta be. Epidemic of cocaine probably in the young people. That's what's going on.
Well, they're talking. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say it's the only thing it could be. This can only mean this.
Well, they are saying that there's this new drug out that's been being used, and I was just watching a deal, True Crime or something like that, and they're in Austin, Texas. These people are just keep showing up dead in the same lake. River flows into it, and so I listened to it, and it is freaking creepy. People seem to be going to these two different bars. Some have had really bad interactions as far as some type of substance, but people are dying, and they're saying, "Oh, they committed suicide," but yet they've got broken bones and all kinds of other things going on with them. If you jump in the water and drown, you don't have all that. How you have broken bones? One man, they claimed was a suicide. His arms and stuff was bound, and so was his head and mouth. I mean, it's freaking crazy. And there's like 10 of these cases so far of just dead bodies. But they were talking towards the end of it about this. It's kind of like that date rape drug. I don't know the name of it, but
Roofie.
Roofie.
Yeah.
No.
Roofie. Yeah. But it's something that once it goes into the body, it will act like that drug, but it's another substance. And so, yeah, I say that there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now as far as, people's health and whatnot, what we're eating.
All of a sudden, it's because of our food. Has to be.
Well, I mean, our food, our water, our
that all of a sudden
air,
that's all of a sudden giving 18-year-olds
our medicines.
Probably felt guilty from all that white pride and had a heart attack,
Yep.
Just because of the terrors of the color, that one was born as. That's probably the cause.
Yes, I suffer from that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Caucasitis.
Yeah. Cockeyed suddenly.
So here's a cool little thing about the Monarch MKUltra, which, listen, I think like Don Pettit, I think he really does believe he's been to space. I think that he's MK. I think that he's a mind control subject, and I truly believe he really believes he was in space, but was under some kind of a hypnosis,
Right.
instead. I do, because I don't think he's all that swift. He's like one of those savants. He can rattle off some mathematics and shit like that. But he don't even hardly got sense enough to wipe his own ass. You ever see those people? I saw one time. First time I ever saw one was as a kid. Some morning show. They brought this guy on, man. He was he couldn't even walk over to the piano unassisted. Big old hulking guy, right? Set him down in front of that piano, and this guy started jamming out all kinds of Bach and Chopin and just fucking amazing, but couldn't even tie his own shoes. Crazy. So I don't know. MKUltra, this is crazy. The human mind is something else.
In trauma-based mind control, trauma is used to hack into the mind and body's defense systems in order to train a person's behavior. This is accomplished in 3 steps. In step 1, the victim's identity is destroyed. This is achieved by depriving the victim of their basic needs and inflicting pain upon them until they become exhausted, confused, and disoriented. In this state, they no longer trust themselves and become receptive to guidance from an outside authority. Step 2, through a strict system of rewards and punishments, the victim is imprinted with a new identity. The new identity is trained to self-isolate by having it denounce everything associated with the previous identity. And finally, with step 3, through the continued use of trauma, the rebuilding of the victim's new self is crafted and maintained however the mind controller chooses. For this to work, the subject must remain oblivious to the fact that they are being trained. This is accomplished by keeping them in a helpless victim state of mind with the use of trauma. The entire method requires regular ritualistic abuse to keep the target in the victim state. Declassified documents show how drugs and sensory overload are used to inflict trauma upon the public. But high-level slaves are often procured from families with an established history of child abuse. Intergenerational or multi-generational trauma abuse is when a person abuses their child, and that child grows up to abuse their child, and that person grows up to abuse their child, and so on. This increases a person's susceptibility to trauma-based mind control. Experiments with mice have shown that the offspring of a traumatized pregnant mother are born depressed and exhibit problems socializing with others. A nurturing upbringing by a healthy surrogate mother did not reverse the abnormal behaviors, indicating an in utero transformation of the brain. And bioinformatic analysis revealed long-lasting alterations in the DNA. This is why the CIA is known for targeting children from families of multi-generational child abuse. They are easier to mind control. This is why world leaders are all from the same bloodlines. This brutal technique has been used and understood for centuries. And if a group of people vying for power wanted a loyal army of soldiers, the easiest way would be by breeding them. And the evidence shows that this is how our society was created. From the middle of the 19th century and well into the next, hundreds of thousands of orphans were distributed and sold in the United States, and millions worldwide. They were advertised, delivered by train, and sold at fairs. In America, these orphans were being managed and distributed by a private organization from Britain known as the Odd Fellows, many of whom were orphans themselves. The Ancient Order of Odd Fellows is an international fraternity whose members, such as Albert Pike and several U.S. presidents during the orphan train years, were often members of Freemasonic lodges as well. With their first official lodge in the United States established in 1819, the Odd Fellows are officially committed to educating orphans, but they seem to have been procuring them and breeding them as well. The Odd Fellows' first female chapter, the Daughters of Rebecca, was founded right before the orphan trains began, and a depiction of their work shows hints of mass breeding and surrogate motherhood. They worked closely with the Odd Fellows at large institutions known as orphan asylums and foundling asylums, where many members themselves were born. The Rothschild banking dynasty provided funding for several of these orphan asylums. According to Philip Eugene de Rothschild, the family has privately bred over 100,000 offspring, including Adolf Hitler. This is why pedophilia is so prevalent among the families of world leaders. While it is used for extortion, its primary function is for trauma-based mind control. Because to the mind controller, trauma equals transformation, and there is nothing more traumatizing to a person than pedophilia. If you had 1 million mind control slaves placed in positions of power, then you could control entire nations, but only if the masses were also kept in a relative state of trauma. Greg Reese reporting.
That's what they were doing in the insane asylums. They were seeing how far they could push people to break them. You're muted.
You're on mute.
Yeah, electroshock therapy, all that fucking bullshit, right?
They want to break you.
Yeah. Yeah. Lobotomies.
Yes.
And that's one of the first places they went to with that guy up in Toronto or in Montreal. What the hell was that guy's name that was doing all that MKUltra bullshit on the patients?
Dr. Taser.
Yeah, is that one of them? I remember there was another Kaiser. Wasn't that one of the names? Kaiser? Yeah, I think so. The Kaiser Institute or something. I'll have to get back into that. This shit it's been like a field of research, but unofficially for, quite some time off the books. And then when they get caught doing it, then they said, oh yeah, we're not doing that anymore. And then you find out they're still doing it. Of course, they're still doing it. They're just not doing it.
Have to get more crafty at it.
Right,
like
right.
The reason they shut them down, the reason they shut the mental institutions down is because they found out what was going on in them that wasn't supposed to be going on. It was all military, like they didn't know. But that's what they claimed. So they just basically turned all them people loose. And, then they just use doctors and what have you and create this medical field for that specific thing. And the medications are to control you and your behavior and everything from the time you wake up until you go to sleep.
And they've got this handy little device that they can operate on your subconscious with now too, so that they can do their work while you're sleeping. Yeah, listen, we need to wake a lot of more people up from this shit, but it's happening organically, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
So it's good. It's good. And I like to come on here, touch base with everybody, and Get a good look, see at everything. What is it? It's really government officials. Oh my God. Yeah, weren't we supposed to get the fucking Epstein list today or something? Wasn't that supposed to go on? They said they were going to release it after the
I
first.
thought they already started releasing some of the names. I've seen a few names. I can't remember what they said. I really don't.
Is it any surprise? No, of course not.
No surprises, no.
You know, the only place it's going to act like it's a big surprise is in the media, right? We've been out here talking about this shit since the dude didn't kill himself. We already know who the fuck was on the list. We already know who the fuck was going to this place. We know what was going on. And in all reality, Epstein was small potatoes. There's much bigger endeavors than Epstein going on. He was pretty much amateur hour when it comes to this shit.
Oh, he was just fodder for the people that are not paying attention. He was the one they threw under the bus, the scapegoat.
Yeah, man. It's
like, don't look at us over here. You look at that man over there. That's the dude that did it, right?
So here it was 14 hours ago, breaking. Jeffrey Epstein's court documents with the list of over 200 names is getting released in a few hours. Nothing will ever be the same again. But you know what? Everything is still the same. You know, this is just keep stringing people along and placating them for this shit, you know? And the reality is you might as well just think, look, they've all been in it. Okay, all of them. There ain't a single one of those motherfuckers up there that's clean. None of them. Okay, and so what are we going to do now? Instead of voting for the lesser of two evils, we're going to vote for the less scuzzy of two scuzzies. Come on, you got to get
voting is a conspiracy theory.
What? Yeah, of course.
They think flat Earth is a conspiracy theory. No, voting is. That's tinfoil hat bull crap. Nobody votes. Not when 44 of the presidents were all related to two royalties.
Yeah.
And Freemasons, by the way.
It's your consent. When you go down there and do that, you're just giving them your consent that you're down for it, right? And this is why they want to make sure that everybody votes. Everybody, you got to make sure that you vote. Why? Well, because then we get your consent. Because you can have an election with 5 people voting, right? Those 5 people could just vote. We already know, might as well. None of our shit is actually used for that anyway. It's just to basically get your consent to put up with their nonsense.
Consent is just an illusion because they still have the comply and or die attitude. So that's just an illusion that you can consent or not consent to something.
I think it's a poll. You know, when you put up a poll and you say how many people think A or think B, well, however many people actually vote A or B, or just even vote at all, they can basically keep track of how many stupid people they've fooled. It's like, hey, now divide that by the population. Now we got a percentage of freaking retards.
Yeah. About right.
We've been successful. We've made everybody stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They really did, man. They really did. Well, they didn't make them stupid. They took trusting people and through a really devious plot under the guise of doing something good. We're going to educate your children. We're here to do that for you. You can't do that yourself. We have highly trained experts that are better off than you to train your children along the lines of how to be educated, right? So that was their first thing. And then they went on a career of teaching all these kids a whole lot about nothing. Fill their head with bullshit. And then tell them that they now know everything they need to know. Give them a little piece of paper, just like the scarecrow. Go on out there and skip down that yellow brick road, baby. And that's what we end up doing. God.
Absolutely. Yeah. I voted twice in my life. Once for the quote unquote president elect, and then once here in California because of one of those propositions, to stop the gay takeover thing. And yeah, of course, they said it was unconstitutional that the people's is popular vote that says hell no. So they went ahead and enacted you can marry whoever you want in California.
Yeah.
And then, of course, who was it? I think it's probably just Biden versus Trump. That one. And now I've just unregistered. It's all bull. But I wasn't quite woke up all the way yet. During that stuff, I remember even fighting in Facebook back in the day. Oh, Trump, he just had his daughter sitting in his lap. It doesn't mean anything. Look at Biden had his freaking daughter in his shower. Come on, people. And I was sitting there defending the freaking pervert.
I got a thing I got a saying a thing in the mail saying I was, a voter registration card already filled out and everything. And I was like, I didn't fucking register to vote. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So I made him take me off the registry. I made him take me off the registry.
Absolutely. Good idea. Yes. We had our thing taken off too. Yeah. After that.
Start pulling that bullshit. You just want me to have to pull jury duty. Kiss my ass. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and in California, it's driver's license is jury duty is what enables you for that. Yeah.
Here it's registering to vote.
Yeah. In some states, I think they automatically vote you or register you once you're. Oh wow.
Hollywood. Yeah, I was gonna say this was South Park. This was from South Park. They tell the truth, man.
Controlled by an elite, wealthy, and privileged few. When Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire, was found guilty of sex trafficking, he was set to squeal on all the elites in Hollywood and in Washington who used his child sex services. But Epstein was found dead in his cell from, quote, suicide. Why do the elites want children from sex traffickers? Adrenochrome. It is harvested from children for a euphoric and life-enhancing benefit. This satanic cabal of Hollywood and political elites all need the adrenochrome to maintain their positions of power. And they will continue to do so until we stand up against them.
I saw that episode, and let me tell you something, man. It fucked me up, man. I was like, oh my God, they are just not pulling out any punches at all. They got Oprah. They had Barack Obama doing this shit. I'm like, are you kidding me, man?
Now, do you have any questions, Craig?
So does Oprah drink the same blood as Obama, or is it usually a different kid?
It's kids from all over the world. Now, it's time for me to tell you the biggest thing that the Hollywood elites don't want you to know.
All right, just what the hell do you think you're doing?
Oh,
Go tutor someone else. You think you can take my students from my classroom?
oh my God, it's you.
That's right, it's me, the head teacher at South Park Elementary. And this is what I think of private tutors. Get her, Mr. Sturvitz!
You watch this show?
I used to.
I
used to watch it. Yeah, they started getting a little extra blasphemous, so I kind of stopped watching them. But yeah, they were awesome for a while there.
Listen, you got to watch South Park and The Simpsons if you want to know what's going to happen. It's the way it looks like to me. I mean, this thing's got the magic 8-ball beat by every which way that I can figure.
It's all just like Toontown, a bunch of clowns, a bunch of cartoons.
Yeah. Hey, remember SpongeBob? If you look, if you go to Google Maps and you put in Bikini Bottom, it brings you to Epstein Island.
You know, the Disney ship stopped there for snorkeling and shit. I'm not kidding you, man. It was, yeah.
I was hearing about Oprah's thing with her orphanages and schools there in Africa as well, being part of that, taking them on trips to that place and grooming them for that.
Oh my God, here it says, the guy put up, it says, we are only one day into 2024 and have already seen a passenger plane exploding on the runway in Tokyo, a car plowing into a New Year's crowd in New York City, tsunamis in across Asia, massive earthquakes worldwide, California high tide event. Prepare for an insane year.
Yeah, Japan, they had that big earthquake, 7 point something, and a tsunami. So, yeah, they're pretty bad shape.
Oh my God, look at, here's the plane coming in on the runway. This is
爆発の瞬間の映像です。羽田空港に着陸しようとしたところ、機体から火の手が上がりました。飛行機全体が炎に包まれて大きな爆発がありました。午後5時47分、羽田空港に着陸しようとしたところ、日本航空は爆発の瞬間の
So the pilot, Captain Something Wong, and his co-pilot Wee Too Low, they were trying to pull up on the stick, and the last thing was by the navigator. Holy fuck! So
hey, that was another one of those rapid, unexpected
disassembly. Yeah,
disassembly. Yeah,
it was a rapid, unscheduled disassembly of the aircraft. Yes, doesn't sound as bad that way. Wow, holy shit! Poor Captain Something Wong. He'll never recover from this one, I don't think. Wow, that's just all the crazy shit on that thing blowing up. I just ran across that.
Though.
Holy cow.
If there's people on it, that's really sad situation.
So, yeah, this is big news coming out. Jeffrey Epstein was blackmailing politicians for Israel's Mossad, new book claims. Oh, gee, wow. It's breaking fucking news that we all knew 3 years ago when he didn't kill himself, you know? But when we said anything about it, we got kicked off platforms, right?
But wait a minute. He wasn't the first to start doing that.
Oh, no.
You know, because they all have to do things because they get hazed and all this crap in their fraternities. Come on. I've never been to college, but I've heard a lot of the crap that they do at those colleges when you join them fraternities.
Well, you mean like Skull and Bones? And
Oh, yeah, something along those lines, right? And how do they get people to do as they want? They blackmail them. We've known that. And he's just a tool. He wasn't the one that came up with this idea. He's the tool.
Well, yeah, that's been forever. They've been doing that shit.
Let's throw this guy under the bus. They're getting too close to the truth.
Yeah, honeypot operations. Honeypot operations are nothing new at all. Nothing new. They've been doing these for ages, hundreds and hundreds of years, but it just now the evidence collection is better. You see, now we have video and little micro cameras and shit. But hell, the CIA had stuff set up back in the 50s and shit to be catching politicians in bed with, getting them roofied out and then have them wake up with a dead hooker, you know, and they're like, oh, I don't remember any of it. Yeah, well, you know, you could get in a lot of trouble for this, but we'll keep your secret as long as you play ball. See, they've been doing this shit forever.
Yep. It's just like the drugs on the street, the same damn thing. They take people, like I know one personally, he was up here illegally and he got in trouble and they told him if he'd sold drugs on the streets in Portland, even though he was here in Washington, he wouldn't be deported. And so what did he do? He agreed to do that so he didn't get deported. It happens at every level.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop off of here, guys.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to shut her down too. We're going. We're right up at 3 hours. That seems to be a good marking point. I tend to go a little bit too long.
Time flies.
It does. It does indeed. And I gotta pace myself out a little better in this. So we'll be back up tomorrow again, tomorrow evening. And I think I'm gonna get some shit together tomorrow so we can talk about some of our normal stuff here. And then I think we're gonna shoot on over to Rumble and talk about some of this shit we've had to tiptoe and dance around for the last 3 years, and really get it out there, because hopefully we can get a lot of the people that normally watch here. We got 104 watching right now. That's not bad. That's pretty good for this channel. And if we can get people like that tomorrow night and skip on over to Rumble, I have loads of material I have been picking up here and there over time for just such a thing to do. And we're going to make it worth the while, because there's a lot of information out there that we're not allowed to show here. We're not allowed to talk about. And it just might help you make it through the next few trying years that we're going to be having. So
you thought about doing Rockfin too?
Yeah, in fact, after that's one of the things I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to, I sent a request thing to do, like you do. And I've been recommended both by Melodome and by Brian Stavely. So I didn't ever hear anything back from them. I'm going to try it again. Maybe and I checked my spam and everything else. So I don't know. But yeah, definitely I want to get onto Rockfin and eventually kind of just minimize the whole YouTube thing. Because look, man, they're cutting their own throat. They don't want people to talk about the shit. Obviously, they don't want anybody talking about things that people are actually interested in. And without having to tiptoe around. And even on some of the other topics that we talk about, you can't get by without them sticking some stupid fucking fact check sticker from Wikipedia about flat earth or some other shit on there, which just shows, okay, you're really desperate. You're really desperate. You got to do that. What do you go through and do that on everything? No, you don't. Just certain subjects.
So, it's gay.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
See you next time, Joel.
All right.
Have
take
a good
care.
night.
You too.
And what about you, Dreamy? You got anything you want to leave us with?
Just good night to everyone.
All right.
Stay on the ball.
Yes.
Don't let them disappoint you.
No, get off that goddamn ball. Get off that crazy ass ball. Who's wanting to be on that shit? Right?
Just joking.
Right.
Anyways, good night. Much love to everyone.
Right on. See you later, Dreamy. Moon Bounce, what do you got for us, bud?
Don't lick gay frogs.
No, definitely don't lick gay frogs. They're not the kind you get high on, right?
Right.
Those are cane toads, okay? Keep that in mind. We're not telling you to go lick them, but nobody's going to judge you if you do. All right? At least not here anyway. Just
all right, I'm out.
All right, later, Moon Bounce. All right, well, we'll see everybody tomorrow night again around the same time. Like we always say, Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey. And don't put up with all the bahooey and the twiddle twaddle that they're trying to throw at you all the time, okay? All right, good night. We'll see you tomorrow.